He finded the button.
I did find a button.
Hello, welcome to Rain. This is number 27? Yeah, 27.
20-something.
26. I predict that for the next several uploads to our YouTube channel will be titled 20-something until I get to polishing them. Anyway, hi. We're going to have a very funny one for you today, chat. So, first of all, I'm sick. I'm fighting really hard not to have to immediately wheeze into the microphone the moment we started recording, as you do. But also, Loth's not here yet? Question mark? Like, I don't remember if it did come up in the conversation because, like I said, I was taking my headphones off to stand up and then slam them back on really quick. But, Aren, Lucky, you were playing, like Warframe and stuff with me just yesterday, right?
Yeah,
you didn't say anything about scheduling or anything.
No, didn't.
Yeah, then he probably just stayed up too late doing something. Hopefully, he will show up at some point and we can laugh at him for it.
Ha 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 ha.
It'll be slightly awkward if we go the whole session without him, just because that means that God knows where he's going to be. There's a whole bunch of D&D memes about this. About you miss one session and then you wake up and you're like, "Where are we?
What are we doing here?"
Well, thankfully,
you're in a wooden crate on a boat.
Hobos.
We could. I would strongly predict that Loth would not listen back to the start of next session to catch up on what he missed unless we told him to go do that. If we tell him to go do it, he'll do it. But if we didn't say it, we probably could pull off that joke. Now, unfortunately, there's an even odds that chat will ruin it when they listen to this AP. Anyway, before we go too much further in the weeds, I do need to really quick do the patron shout out before I forget because I'm too sick. And say that this episode is brought to you by our lovely, wonderful, superior patrons like Adam DeHarp, Legacy G, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragon, JDV9000, Starlight, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Rise of Kenji, Rogue Robin, Sharvor, some guy named Bob and Baron the Crow. Thank you very much for your support. Patrons, listeners of all stripes. But yes, I am. We're gonna see how long the session goes as well because I am a little ill and I do not know. I always say this, and then we go for 5 hours. I genuinely do not know how long I will, but I have a full bottle of water to start the session with, so we're going to be cooking.
Cook.
So, strictly speaking, we start with you guys returning home. You guys, go back to Torchlight Hall. You have dinner of some sort, and I brought this up, actually, when we were hammering out a few things ahead of time that we will finalize on mic just so everything's straight. But one of them was, does Nicola remember to bring up to the group that he said he, I think it was technically last night, or was it earlier this?
It was earlier this morning.
It was it was breakfast meeting. You guys have had a lot of team meetings lately, back to back. So at the post breakfast team meeting, Nicola said everybody should, swing by his lab, which is his room, as you do not have unlimited free rooms inside your manor house tonight. Does Nicola remember that he said that after all the other shit you went through, or are one of the other characters going to bring it up? Okay.
Nicola does have a good brain.
It's fine. Like I said, it's just yes, Dallas though doesn't sometimes because when directly quizzed about wanting to do this scene after we wrapped up at the end of last session, Dallas could not provide any answers. Actually, none. But Nicola remembers. This is good. Yeah, we noticed. Anyway, in that case, the stage is yours, sir.
So if you go after dinner, Nicola would be waiting in his room, having to get a few things ready. So if you go in, you will notice that one wall, probably the window wall, so that looking in would not show any of this, is covered in diagrams a lot of them seem very. A lot of human sketches that look similar to medical diagrams, but slightly different. And probably, I don't know if no, you're smart enough. You just have enough general brain. Inos would definitely notice. But I would say probably also Leslok would notice that this has a lot to do with involving the soul.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
we've
don't
not
know how
clearly
much
established if there's like a concept of anatomy of the soul and stuff. Like the ancient Egyptians.
That's what a lot of the work seems
to
to be doing, is trying to figure out the anatomy of the soul.
But there are throughout like all of your different like sorceress traditions, there are definitely like when all your magic users pile all their knowledge together, you definitely know that okay, so there's definitely body, mind, soul. There's soul stuff.
There's
there's
a soul.
probably like pressure points and meridians and stuff. There's like some kind of structure to your soul, etc., etc.
And lucky you would probably, or Enos would probably find this exceptionally cold, because it's someone who is notoriously bad at soulcraft, trying to understand the soul and put it and force it into alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
You would probably also be able to notice a lot of the more recent drawings are directly trying to involve copying the soul. I don't think Nicola has quite reached the point of tearing the soul yet, but trying to figure out how to copy the soul.
I don't think copying a soul would be considered heretical.
I don't know.
I guess the question is where he's getting the soul from,
Yeah.
It's like,
There's probably a lot of borderline cases here. Like, probably nothing that is directly
I was just about to type this out, but this is a good time to discuss theory. So this is from the alchemical understanding. The idea of the self or the truth is the tripart human. Body, mind, soul. So, the alchemy has probably the weakest grasp on the soul because the soul is linked to the elements of aether, the astral, and the umbral. Those are by necessity very like high concept. Aether is literally like that which is immaterial, right? The aether is something that by design is not physical. And the because I've done this thinking for other world building stuff, but basically astral is the cosmic energy above that is represented in the stars in the sky, the vaults of heaven, the movement of time. Astral or umbral, sorry, is the energy opposite astral that is in reserves deep inside the earth. That's pull of gravity and tides, welling of energy, like ley line theory, and like deep reserves of power deep inside the earth. So the soul is linked up to all that stuff, which is all very high concept and heady. So obviously, it seems like Nicola is struggling to figure out his process through of that. I guess if you just had a lot of extra aether, you could probably do something soul related. But then, where are you getting it?
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of like, a lot of like, if you like think of it like the conspiracy board you see in a lot of medias, there's a lot of like red string chains that are dead ends. Like, maybe I could do this, and then eventually just, no, that won't work. But yeah, so so this is where I stand currently. I am obviously in our Marquis' employ, and the current what's my actual title? I can never find
Court physician.
Is it Lord Doctor or
Court physician?
Your honorific is Lord Doctor, yes, but your
Court physician.
Yeah.
I'm currently the court. Yeah, I'm currently the court physician under employ of our dear Marquis Logi, and I wish to stay that way, as it has been my goal in the entire time. However, as I'm sure Inos has noticed, and possibly the rest of you, my how do I say this? Amorous intentions lead me in a separate direction, moving into the area of time. I appear to have
Have a
above my
conflict
weight
of
class.
have a conflict of heart and duty.
Very much so. So, when I met with the Lady Admiral, although she meant it as a threat, I'm sure, she did bring up a interesting thought that I've been putting most of my spare time into. She brought up the point that I could not be in two places at once. I claim to disagree with her. And for that end, I'm trying to figure out how to be in two places at once.
Inos looks at Nicola, looks at the diagrams, looks at Nicola, looks at the diagrams.
I want to ask for clarity if Aurelia was allowed to be in this conversation, because I gotta say, if she's here, she's probably making some very interesting faces right now.
You can be here.
No, yeah, I wouldn't be able to keep out Aurelia or Alestra if they wanted to come.
I don't.
Or Turin and Thorin, although I don't know how interested they'd be.
No, I don't think they would show up because
I know Aurelia cannot not snoop, so she's here.
Yeah. Debating whether or not. No, Alestra. You don't know yet about the details of her conversation with Inos about stuff, but definitely that back and forth. She's also interested more in your like occultism and like sorcery as a knowledge base, so she would probably also have showed up. Konrad probably doesn't have to be here, but may have showed up anyway, just because Nicola's his doctor. And also, I don't know if does Nicola or Konrad, do you want to know what Nicola does in his spare time? Actually, this is a good question.
I mean, kind of. At this point, he's kind of regretting it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, as Inos does his classical double takes, like I said, Aurelia's definitely like looking at your diagrams, hand on chin, eyebrows are making various shapes.
It's like, Nicola, cuz, what you're suggesting, are you gonna try and copy yourself?
In a manner of speaking, the actual theory would be to create a being from the same soul with a separate consciousness. Somehow. That's where I'm stuck.
That sounds a terrible idea.
No.
Aurelia starts pinching her brow.
No.
Yes?
Konrad turns and walks away at this point.
No.
Konrad, maybe you should come back. We might need somebody to hold
I
Nicola
have
down and
the error here.
shake some sense into him, perhaps.
Cuz, you do not just split your soul and you have a whole nother person. What are you made of, cuz? Enos continues on without giving a chance. You're made of a mind, soul, and body. It requires 3 things. Even if you were to do the blasphemous act of copying your soul, where would the body and mind come from? Your silence speaks volumes, cuz.
So no, I have an answer. You might not like it, though.
Oh, I don't like this already.
So have you ever heard of a Tolkien?
You can roll lore.
I do not have it, but, fuck it.
Yeah, there's no difficulty because I know you've like hung out with alchemists before, but we've established. Nope.
I think Leslok already knows what that is.
Should I get some rope? Do we need
No,
to
that
tie him
won't
up?
that won't be necessary yet.
I wish that thunder just came through right then, but it didn't.
It did.
It did.
Oh, excellent. We've gotten ominous all of a sudden.
You, Leslok, can roll. I mean, Konrad wants to roll lore to figure it out. He can too. He probably would have like a difficulty 3 at least. Leslok, you can probably roll your knowledge
my
sorcery.
Discord is eating itself.
Oh no.
Yeah, Dallas is lagging a little bit, but like I said, we can make
I almost did roll like a dumbass. Suck myself.
Almost got him.
here.
Nice.
4s, lots of 4s, 2 10s also.
Yeah, I'm not gonna roll.
Yeah, no, you would be. You have spent at this point, literally.
I
years
have read
studying
most
and
of
memorizing.
Nicola's books.
Yeah, if Nicola hasn't stopped you from reading his books, you've read a lot of his books, so you're familiar with the theory, because every part of the Trinity is made up of elements. If you just balance elements in the correct way, you can make another thing.
Hey, am I back?
Yes.
Yes.
No, he's not back.
There we go.
Nicola,
God,
if
for
you,
only a
even
couple
if you,
more days.
even if you Nicola, even if you chemically amassed enough to make a facsimile of a soul, and then trained a body to be a replica of your own, the amount of steps to take that is still inherently risky and dangerous, and also, I don't think the soul you'd make would be your own in the way you'd want it,
Well-
and that crosses so many lines I can't even begin.
Well, I wouldn't be putting anyone important in danger.
Inos gets real stiff at that.
Yeah, Aurelia definitely is like not like stiff, but definitely like her level of exasperation goes up too. She's like, "Okay, Nicola, I understand that you probably did poorly at your exercises at the Silver Tower, but you've only let me remind you and everyone in this room, in case they've forgotten, you've only got one soul. Like, it's technically your soul is like immortal. It's also supposed to be indestructible, kinda. There's some scholarly debate on that, but like, when your body dies, your soul goes somewhere else, usually to the next world. If you remove the soul from the body, you die. I'm pretty sure you know that part. But like, you can't move off and shave off bits or I don't even know if you can transcribe bits. It's your living force, your emotions, your will, your spirit to be alive. You can definitely damage souls, but you've only got the one. It doesn't grow back.
Like, if I look at the theory, like, literally on your wall right now.
I was like, Inos turns to Leslok. Leslok, does any of that gibberish on the wall make any sense? I don't understand.
It's the idea that he's going to fragment his soul and then facsimilize it, hopefully it will grow back by feeding enough equivalent elements.
No, he said
I haven't gone that far yet.
Yeah, I'm about to say he only said he's talked about like
haven't gone that far yet.
copying it so far.
That would be problematic.
I should clarify too, because we got into some other bits too. But Leslok did successfully roll in Tarquin, so you would know basically the description that's in like the sorcery list. Yeah. It is a process that permanently creates a thing called the homunculus. It takes 31 days to form. You rolled 10, so you know for sure, Leslok, that you can use it to create a humanoid homunculus based on either a human or a kindred. This is super illegal and technically heretical because you are creating a new person who is alive. Like, they would be a sentient being. They'd be kind of shitty because they spring out of the ground after 31 days.
You'd be making... Nicola, the basis of what you're using to acquire a body also goes to the thing that you are taking a being that you are chemically created into life and then shaping it into being you.
Honestly.
Which is...
Wait, so the Tarquin, is he going to like make an artificial body out of...
It would...
Oh,
Finish.
Oh no! Like, just kind of waits for you to continue because his mind
it
is
would
full of
grow.
Right now.
He would make basically a chemical seed, and it would grow over 31 days.
So it wouldn't
And then
have a
spawn a
mother,
full
a
person.
father, or have all the things that a nice normal person would have growing up. It would just
It
be
would only have
something, a spring out of the ground and be, you know, kind of, I don't know what, fake, different, not the real thing? Question mark.
All historical accounts of any attempt to produce a homunculus are that they are uncanny, unnormal.
Yes. So
Oh, but also, I think my dear brother was going to say, Enos, that also this I know for a fact, it's very illegal. It
yes.
is
So,
explicitly
before-
forbidden under the King's
before-
law and under the religious provisions of the Great Reformation. Alchemists haven't attempted it in hundreds of years.
Before you
Allegedly.
stab me, please. I'm trying to figure out a way, and I admit it's difficult having to do this completely all based on theory. I'm trying to figure out a way for the spell to work without giving the Tolkien life.
It's
If it
still
makes
got.
sense.
Even
still
if you
be
make a
bound to a vessel.
cadaver and stick your bind in it, then you have the problem that you're gonna be you in a body that isn't really you. Don't you think it might have I don't know, a crisis of identity?
So what you're saying is this is a bad idea.
Yes!
It's
On
beyond a
several
bad idea.
levels.
It's dangerous. It's
Every
dangerous
part
and
of-
heretical.
Every part of this is heretical.
Oh, not every part of it.
Every part of it! Making the
Oh,
body
fine.
heretical, copying the soul heretical. I don't even know what you're gonna do to copy your mind into it. Also
Yeah,
probably
that's
heretical.
part of the theory that I absolutely have no idea.
That's the hardest part, and honestly, it's why I. See, this is why I
honestly,
invited you all here.
Aurelia probably, like, when she says, I have absolutely no idea, does not turn to Nicola to say that. She turns to say that to Leslok, as it is established
Yeah.
she has quite a lot of dice in sorcery.
It's
in
like-
knowledge sorcery, I should say, student.
Cuz, I understand you're torn between love and duty. Oh, greatest mother below, I understand. But there are better ways to do this besides tearing yourself apart to accomplish said things.
That's fair.
It's like, what are you expecting? Are you expecting to get married in like the next, I don't know, 30 days or so? Like,
No.
it's like, are you expecting like you need to get married in the next couple years?
We'll define a couple. I was thinking maybe 5 or 6.
You have plenty of times to figure out other ways. Lots of things can change. Hell, like, who knows? Maybe something will happen with the houses, and you'll be a lot closer. Maybe you'll figure out a new way to travel. Hell, maybe you'll figure out a way to rip through the veil itself and step in one place and step out another. God, I would definitely prefer that over whatever that
As soon
hell's
as,
below
as
you're
soon
doing
as you
that.
say that, Nicola gets this look in his eyes. Wait a minute.
You know, so I was going to suggest something similar, but
We need to go to the Feywild.
No.
We do not need to go to Fairy. Leslok, tell him how much that's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea on. Where do I even begin?
It's against the covenant.
No.
One, we're not supposed
Okay.
to do that without good reason.
Fair
2,
enough.
I've spoken to my mother. The other side is full of things. Devils, spirits, angels, elementals. And also, it's full of angry fairies who already don't like us.
Covenant
Okay.
goes that
I have
we
no
know
idea.
that our places is here and their places
How
there.
about
so-
you just commit to a long distance relationship?
The best you could do, you could at least. Nah, never.
I will solemnly give you my word, Inos and Leslok and Konrad and Aurelia and Alestra. I will no longer do any work that would put harm towards mine or another person's soul.
Well, that's pretty straightforward.
All right, that is.
I'm still Inos is still eye narrowing at you though.
Very specific, also.
I mean, I expect him to make. I expect him to
I mean,
make if you did him.
At the very least, at his word, he's included himself this time. and also every other person. So
Yeah, but didn't he say only his soul, so he doesn't care about hurting his body or mind?
I mean, he makes poisons already.
I mean,
No.
I think
Cousin,
Aurelia gives you an aside look, Conrad, and says,
Conrad,
"Well, the body stuff we're already a little bit, sketchy on."
I don't need to remind you. We did just
Pokes you in
raid
one
a
of your
house
sword
full
wounds.
of bandits this morning. Like, I cannot promise you the body. I really can't. With our luck.
I wasn't expecting that of you.
The mind, I mean, job stress withstanding.
That's entirely just depends on circumstance.
But no, you're right. I've been going at this too carelessly.
It's not a okay, it's an insane concept, but it is one of those things that is why people have access to sorcery, is to make the impossible possible. The methodology is, well, it's very wrong. All right, it's very bad, no good. Like, I think like Aurelia looks at like one of your diagrams of like different ways you've been trying to basically come up with like a alchemical formula to like
How do
copy
soul?
a soul, and she's just like shivers a little, just like, oh, that just looks gross. Ugh.
Yeah,
It's
see,
like having
this is why I
yeah.
should consult. This is why I'm glad I have a family of different sorcerers, because it's a problem with the Golden Towers. Everyone's an alchemist, so no one has any way to tell people how to not do stuff like this.
Silver.
Or no,
He's talking about the alchemical college.
I'm talking about the alchemical
okay.
college.
Yeah.
Never mind.
The alchemical college is just the alchemical college, though it is on the Golden Desert, so I can understand why
Sorry,
you
the
got confused.
yeah, the Golden Desert. Sorry, my bad.
But yeah, no, and then I think once again with a slight amount of cheek, Aurelia's like, and Conrad's here in case any of us are just talking absolute nonsense.
Exactly.
He's a very good, I guess, baseline.
I mean, that happens a lot of the time whenever you're talking about sorcery.
That's fair.
All right, okay, but
That's how it
Nicola,
goes.
like, trust me on this. Like, forgive me for sounding. Oh, what's the word I want to say here? Oh, the romanticist, but you love them, right?
Of course.
You're pretty sure they love you too, correct?
As much as I deserve. Wait, no, that came out wrong.
Point is made.
Then they will have no problem waiting at least a while for you. As long as you don't make yourself absent, things will continue apace.
All right. Thank you.
I think Alestra chimes in and says, I think quite frankly, a lot of our house has a serious concern with pointed glance around the room, a mismatch of social standing with your romantic entanglements.
That's not new to Elvis.
Unfortunately,
Inos definitely does a at that.
Alestra kind of gives Leslok a little bow of her head and says, "Oh well, your lordship, you've arranged a very appropriately high-level marriage of a dynastic variety, which I would think most of our houses would all dream for the rest of us, but things are more complicated, I guess." She does kind of like very slightly, like adjust the collar of like, whatever dress or shirt she's wearing and say, despite that being part of the point of the whole thing, I must admit I did not find myself drawn to any particular suitors at this event. But the night is young. Alestra just kind of not Alestra, Aurelia just kind of like in her mind
luckily,
playing gotta find out who killed my dad.
Luckily, dear sister, I dare say at least you will have a more traditionally I don't want to say easy because nothing in life ever is, but a better negotiating position.
Oh, if things go as the way I plan.
No,
I'm saying that out of character, but
Dallas understands. We are taking very different approaches to the same problem.
I'm still
there's
thinking.
lots of things going on. Well, yeah.
I
In
was gonna say
character,
something.
Leslok doesn't know that Alestra is a miracle worker. She's a little.
I'm trying.
bit
I'm just
for
trying.
her
I'm
yet.
trying to ignore that for most cases until
I
it's
know.
said to me.
She
Yeah.
and she doesn't do anything to like let it go or
Warrant it.
show. You know.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't go around casting spells, so you would have no reason to proc an eerie roll on her or anything.
No.
But yeah, no. But like I said, you know, I think like Aurelia approaches the diagrams and just kind of like looks at them and just goes. Bleh. Probably like actually like probably like takes a couple of your pieces of parchment and like on your desk and like turns them over so she doesn't have to look at them anymore. And she's like, honestly, if you want to get more work done, I think there are better ways. Though some of them may be outside your area of expertise. I know there are other ways that alchemists can make assistance, but the world of sorcery is vast.
Yeah.
Inos has already been discussing with the lot of us about possible, you know, things to make Summer Court pop more. Movable servitors or soldiers could do wonderful things. Those silver knights we saw in Logi's labyrinth were designed for defense, but there's nothing to say that you couldn't get a, you know, simpler animated something that can, you know, hand you things, roll bandages, maybe something soft and flexible. Inos, do you think we could animate a No, scarecrows don't have legs. That won't work. You'd have to. She does like a vague pogoing gesture with her hands. Like you'd have to like hop around. No, that won't work at all. But you get my meaning. There are ways we could lighten your workload so that you don't have to be constantly in Stonehearth. I suspect, though, as years goes on, that the Marquess will, much like our late Lord Father, find himself occupied in various places.
I understand.
It's why I am still entranced by the idea of being able to get to one place to another in an instant, but I'm not going to demand that of you.
Something that you make me realize is I think something I need to start doing once we get home, of course, is I need to establish somewhere for possible training and apprenticeship for my vocation in Stonehearth, because my unique circumstance caused my interest in the medicine field. But those are circumstances that are rare, and I really would. It's hard to talk in this accent. I really wouldn't wish on anyone.
Sir.
Sorry, whenever Dallas gets too lost in the sauce of the accent.
No, whenever we get home, I need to establish somewhere to spark interest in furthering the medical practices in the land of Teine, as I doubt many people in my unique circumstances would occur.
Actually, we don't. I'm sorry. Is Teine our island?
Yeah.
Yes.
Teine is our island.
Okay, sorry.
Teine's your province, yeah.
Teine's our province. Okay, I'm like sometimes I get confused between Norland and Teine. Like,
No, I do too.
Technically,
One's a concept, one's a
Norlon is the
country.
island, and Teine is inside the island. That's your chunk of
Yes.
it.
okay,
No,
okay,
Teine is our half of Norlon.
okay.
Yes.
It's like, well, if mind serves me correctly, it's like that might be well, it depends on how well you can speak to her, but there is someone in Teine who was experienced in being a hospitalier. I bet she would know something about running such an organization and maybe helping you with it. I was
Out
planning.
of character, was that my cousin?
It was Prisca?
Yeah, I think.
But because I think one of them was related to me.
I think she
Yes,
might.
Priska Ecclesia, formerly of House Gridarvol.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, it is my cousin.
Yeah.
Yes.
She she came up during the recommendations and she's stuck in my mind. She's a former.
No, that is something to talk to Lady Priscilla about.
Like, I was planning on paying her a visit when we returned, so it's just another thing to bring up.
I may join you on that, if you would not mind my company.
I would totally mind, but I don't think that would stop you.
I'm a little hurt, but I understand. Anyway, as a show of good faith to Aurelia and yourself, I think these are unneeded. I'll take most of the documents that involve the soul as far as alchemy goes, while leaving a lot of the more just general biological documents. And basically, I'll hand them to Inos. Destroy these however you will.
Inos eats them. No, he does not eat them.
No, please do not.
I mean, if you just cast Shatter the Soul and clap, I think you just disintegrate paper.
I will totally do that. I shall roll.
Yeah, you just auto make confetti.
Yep.
Neat. Oh, that's something I don't see every day.
Yes, if you had continued on this path, I would have done that to you.
I have to remember that. Note to
Nicola,
self: do not piss off Inos.
side question, says Aurelia.
Yes.
The art of the Tarquin. Do you know the formula? She's basically asking you if you know the spell.
I do. I had originally learned it in order to produce guards for myself in Teine. I was going to make a bear. I'm still probably going to make a bear.
I still want to say that's a bad idea, but for some odd reason, I feel like it is not as bad idea as what has come before.
It's
That
not
is
the worst
perfectly
idea
legal.
tonight.
I at least know
That is
making
perfectly legal.
just double check. It's making an animal Tarquin is not illegal, right?
No, it's
No, it's just
No.
making things that are safe.
It's just it's one of those beautiful things where because the ingredients and process is identical, the technique is not widely studied or widespread because the moment you know how to make a bear, a horse, a cat, whatever, you know how to make a human. But yeah,
True.
that is not actually against the rules. It's just, you got to wait 30 days to make a bear or
It's not a
cat or whatever.
It's at least not a sacrilegious idea.
Cavalry bear. Sorry, okay.
So,
Also, by the way, for people listening only to the audio version,
bear.
Loth has awakened and said that he did indeed sleep in. I told him to get up, but we'll see how fast he gets up.
We're good.
Now it is entirely in his fault if he doesn't wake up enough to get in the sesh.
But,
All right, so we successfully avoided Nicola's supervillain arc.
you mean premature death?
Same thing.
Listen, the arc doesn't have to be very long.
It really doesn't.
It can just be a moment.
When there's a sudden stop and then he falls 6 feet into the ground. That's an arc.
Yeah. It's a physics arc too.
Hang on, time to post the GIF. Where is it?
Some of my favorite gifts ever. Let's get over here.
God, what is that? I should find the clip of that in. I think it's technically on Lythero's side, but it might be in Russian Badger's video. But it's Heavenly's playing Akuma. Heavenly Father's playing Akuma against some of Lythero's friends, and he just whispers, "Hey, what's that? Raging demon." And then the other guy freaks out. Then he's like, "Wait a minute, your ass ain't making a raging demon." I just think of that whenever I see the just the whispered raging demon. Anyway, okay, we have successfully resolved that character arc, and it only took 39 minutes 42 seconds.
Well, it's good because it gave Loth a farther chance to get in. Oh shit, that reminds me. I'm gonna put my language point into Thieves' Camp before I forget.
All right, let's do that too. One in.
Yes. Now I have to investigate how to travel through the travel using fairy powers. I need to talk to your mom when we get home.
I don't know. I don't know if this is more or less heretical, but whatever.
Oh,
It's
Oh,
not a matter. It's not a matter of the soul.
There's some arguments you could make about, like, you guys have seen it. Nicola could do glamours. Is he, like, grandfathered in? How does that work?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm wondering. Is like, do I get a discount card to travel here? Do I get like a family coupon?
Can I get a dual citizenship?
Do I get a
Can I get a homie pass? Can I get a homie spell?
Still a bad idea.
I'm not
Probably,
saying
but
it's a good idea, but it's not heretical. Is the point?
it's very true.
No, it's extremely dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
That's still
Actually, this does remind me. Speaking of Nicola and assistants, I don't know if I brought it up before, but I have, when I did switch over everything to just the one houses doc list. Handfuls of new spells have appeared in places, and I was, because I need some mechanics work for something else done. There is a alchemy spell for called Prime Elemental now, which is you make an elemental,
Sick.
which does things for you.
I might change Talkwin to that.
Well, actually, this does raise up an entirely different point. In addition to obviously retraining and stuff,
Ice Bear.
the game straight up said, I saw this in like one of the supplements, maybe the core book, but you can just choose to forget stuff, so you don't have to keep it on your character sheet.
Yeah,
this is explicitly in the format of talking about how, like, you could just spend character points to buy an attunement advantage, and then just say, oh, off screen, I learned the spell to attune myself, and then I forgot it because I'll never need it again.
Yeah.
So that is.
But you
that
don't
is
get the points back, right?
No, you do.
No, not necessarily. But like I said, it's a thing you can do for just like justifying like role-playing decisions or how you acquire things.
I got
I have already done that with some things.
Cressida has that one. She has the.
Yeah, I do believe she does.
That was part of what
But
we
yeah,
did.
there's a handful of things you can do with the various elementals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water, for instances, can breathe underwater and don't need to make athletics rolls to swim. And also, they ignore armor when they punch you.
Punch.
Because water.
Oh, I am just gonna have fucking like 9 rings, one of each element.
Become like the Mandarin.
Mandarin say what?
Yeah, I'm about to say, we're already thinking about, man.
I mean, you
Get
can.
one more ring, he could be the Legend of the Ten Ring.
Yeah, well, there's only 9 elements, and I can't double up.
No, I don't think he's nearly.
Well, technically,
evil
you
enough
can
to be the
double up. It
Mandarin.
just mechanically doesn't do anything. There's no point.
How many different facets are there? Like 9?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's only 8 elementals because there's no elemental for Aether because,
Wait,
as we said, Aether
where's
is
the elemental
inherently
spell?
non-physical. Prime Elemental. You're going to want to check the... I don't know if you saw this, Dallas.
It's right under
but basically
Panacea.
Well, if he has to be looking at the right document. They added tabs, so I reorganized the core houses document to just have everything, and I have been working on that.
Okay.
mostly.
That's why I'm... Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
You know, I requested
I
it
was
because
looking
it
in
puts
the
everything
old
in one
circuit.
place, which I am a fan of.
Yeah.
I agree.
And actually, if we're wondering, because we can stall a little bit while hopefully waking up, but the reason why I did that is because I did want to do a elemental summoning spell under Summoncraft, but then I was like, strictly speaking, the ability to just make an elemental guy is like that actually is related to like Paracelsus's theory of the elements and stuff. So
Self-Undyne.
Is it the Noblesse Oblige houses or Dramatis Personae?
it's the
It's
houses.
the one from the
document.
chat.
Okay.
I just linked it. Yeah, it's the houses.
No, I
That
have
has
both of
tabs
them.
for backstory, armory, all your esoterics and martial paths,
Yeah, I gotcha.
Woo!
and then all this sort of
Okay,
stuff.
so now we only have 2 documents. That's good.
Well, you guys only have 2 documents.
Well, yeah.
mean,
GM
yeah,
rip.
the stuff we actually
but-
see.
You have the Dramatis for tracking characters and comments. Sorry, I orphaned some of your comments about Madame Faline by like retyping her name, but it's fine. They're still preserved on the side.
Mhm.
Just remember, I
So
made
I
comments at
think
least. Please.
I also see another spell that is interesting.
Oh, which new one have you found?
Nothing.
Say it.
Not Dust of the Ancients.
Yes. No. This is from an entirely different burst of inspiration where I was attempting to make more bad guy spells.
Is this like some
If you wanted, Dallas could learn to summon mummies.
bullshit?
You can summon
It's
some mummies.
so it's necromancy.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's alchemy necromancy. Don't worry, I'm not actually going to pick that up.
Oh,
Hey, don't worry, man. I'm gonna probably
essential
be picking up
salts.
Infernal Command at some point. It's gonna be great.
Just
this is a Lovecraft bullshit. Of like fucking pocket sand that
Yes,
turns you
very
into
much,
essential
absolutely.
salts.
also
Literally.
this is also literally from how they did it in the newer mummy movies too. So it's just like, yeah.
Let's see,
Just to make-
where's my sword that does double damage to sorcerers?
You
Here
need to
it
make that
is.
first. You need to make that first.
Need to find some rune crafters and get the Evil Bane rune. But all right, so that means I think that we can say that you guys will safely pass into the blah blah the night. Everybody can sleep.
So what's the roll to recover since I have taken one killing?
So if you want to heal killing, you got to take a whole day of rest, but you're gonna get it. And somebody has to roll medicine on you, I believe, first.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
PDF opened.
Nicola, away!
Is it healing, not medicine, or is it just deceptive?
Yeah,
It's
it's the skill's
medicine.
healing. The skill is actually heal or healing. It's written a couple different ways.
Well,
in the
it's the
PDF.
same skill.
Yeah, but it does not matter so long as
I will make
as
my
he knows which one to
expert
roll.
dice a 6. 2 9s,
at
4
least.
5s.
Well, if width mattered, you could get him healed very fast. But yeah, that should mean that basically after you take your day of rest, your killing turns into a point of shock, and then you
I
can
think
roll.
2 other people need healing rolls.
I'm pretty sure I did not get a full day of rest.
Yeah, you haven't gotten a full
Right.
day of rest yet.
No,
you
it
you
hasn't
will
been a
get
full
one in
day
the
yet.
upcoming, which we can just start once again. We can start bookkeeping now.
Yeah.
Are you injured at all, Leslok?
I'm fine.
He deflected lightning.
Logesh does still have some killing damage to convert, but we can check in on that when Loth gets here.
Palm
Or I can.
that shit away.
So, Omega, are you cool? Just while we're waiting for Loth, are you cool with me switching Taquin for Prime Elemental?
Yeah. It's less points. You
And
can-
then
you can switch around.
2 is in a 2 spell somewhere. I'll figure something out.
You can figure it out.
However, I do get to recover this shock I have from a certain rock.
Rock.
Yeah.
Rock shock.
Could just take Alchemist Fire.
Okay, Loth is booting up his computer now.
I made a match, so I recover one shock. Oh, I have the wrong document
All right,
over.
chapter
Open.
combat.
Do not need my Warframe stuff open.
I'll just put the 2 points in something.
Turns per day, you can benefit from
Figure it out later.
healer shock. Remove a number of points of shock equal to the width of your roll for body plus figure. So you can actually heal 2.
Heal 2.
So yeah, if you want to get rid of, technically this is happening like 2 days from now for Inos to get like rid of his the 1 killing damage, but you can roll your body plus figure to see if you make a match, and then you'll remove your 1 shock.
Alrighty, let's see then.
Because also is your
Damn it!
Oop, nope, that's mistyped entirely. Also, lucky is your mic back adjusted correctly?
It is not.
There we go. Okay, it was like you sound a little quiet all of a sudden. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, so yes, you made 2. All right, yeah. So you'll heal your 1. So yes, Logesh will after his rest probably need a roll as well to see if he can start converting some of that shit to shock.
So at 2 days, I will be healed up.
Yeah. Hey, there he is.
Ayo.
Hello.
Hey,
You sound so awake.
my bag's still acting up.
Oof.
Mm.
Had to just organize family to come over to drop off some fucking painkillers.
Yeah.
Oof.
And because I can.
You have sadly missed our Coming to Jesus meeting with Nicola, but it's okay. The whole party
Oh.
talked some sense into him.
The intervention.
Yes.
Yes, I was intervened on.
We got him to see sense.
Konrad got a headache.
Objection. Oh, fuck. Yeah, no, again, sorry. It literally took a while to fall asleep last night because it's like, let me just roll over to my left. Pain.
You do be like that
No,
sometimes.
yeah, I understand. But good, you're here now. So, not quite breakfast meeting, but tomorrow rolls around to breakfast. And like I said, we're tabulating. I think, yeah, Nicola can make his medicine roll for Logesh because he's got some number of killing left in there. But basically around morning time, probably actually the wagon is rolled up to your place, and a bunch of confiscated goods are dumped on your front lawn.
Cool.
Sergeant Bailey and a couple of constables King's constables are here to officiate. Basically, unload it, hand you the manifest that they've got, their inventory, and just kind of explain that a handful, probably a dozen items have had very easily identifiable owners who were contacted and put in touch, but then it was agreed to hand it off for House Logi to officiate. There were a few people who objected, but when they heard that interesting Iron Demon Artisan would be leading this project, many of the houses quieted down.
Me? Why me?
No, it's definitely not like you've produced incredibly fine, famous pieces of artwork in the past week.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not like you immediately shot up to, hey, look at this guy who's doing things way better than all of us who's been in the industry longer.
You're like locally famous.
Yeah, the word has been spreading, so like there were some questions and concern about, why is House Logi handling it? And it's like, wait, they've got that one Iron Demon doing the work. Well, he knows what he's doing, clearly. That's fine. And as I said before, it is after the items have been pulled out, you have about wealth 3 worth of items, which are probably not going to find a home in a reasonable time frame.
Yeah. What are the ideas I have? Maybe we could use this to like prepay off some of the loan for later, so if things get rough later on when we have to pay it back, it's not as dicey. But
yeah, you could attempt to translate that. This is a thing that is a little oddball. We've talked about this before. 3 wealth compresses into 1 treasure. Obviously, the way your loan worked is House Oro gave up a point of treasure and gave it to you, and then when the terms of the loan next year are up, you have to give them that point of treasure back, or else.
yeah.
Or else.
Literally, the way the get a loan is phrased is, or you default, and then the way the book phrases it is, if you think the other company has a low enough might, you might get away with it. You feel free to default. But generally,
Honestly, okay. The question is, if we just paid the loan ahead of time, would we have to like lower the point at all, or is it more because the amount you took is way more?
I mean, we go down a point of treasure, my dude. That's what paying back the loan is.
Yes. Terms-wise, you would still have to give back the point of treasure.
Okay.
Or, unless you, renegotiated. So, strictly speaking, House Oro was at, 5 or 6 treasure when they gave you a point. 1 treasure point doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
The way going up in wealth works is you have to be equal or higher. So for all of you who are already higher than wealth 3, this treasure doesn't mean anything.
Fair. Then I guess could we?
Could still, like I said, you could still negotiate it as basically collateral against the loan. That could be used to like give you some wiggle room if you didn't want to pay it back right away. Buy you some goodwill, etc. But like I said, even though we are only talking about 1 point of treasure, the 1 point of treasure they're paying you to go from treasure 2 to 3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And him to go down from like 6 to 5 is like different volumes of economic wealth.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. Then maybe another idea, just sending this to everyone. We also could just keep it, so we could eventually it amasses into enough where it's actually just wealth. It's 3 wealth of treasure.
I mean, like honestly, like I don't know like what you're trying to do here. Just pay back the loan normally. We'll go down.
I mean, yeah.
I know we don't have to do anything though. Like we don't actually have to gather up things. It's just when our year's up, our treasure goes down by 1 and his goes up by 1. We don't actually have to give him anything. Unless something happens during the year to make our treasure go further down, it'll be fine. So
and then the thing is what the second thing Axe is suggesting is just like,
what if we just keep it for when the loan is over? We can then use it to like build it up to where we just make ourselves like treasure 3 anyway.
Yeah, you try and sell this off or convert it into liquid currency now, because that wouldn't actually affect most of you, but just like start gathering amounts of items you can convert into a mechanically significant amount of money for you later.
I don't know if that's how it works, because I think and for it to actually go up, we'd have to find more we have to find items of a higher wealth / treasure rating in the first place. Because if I remember correctly, just gathering more things of the same wealth doesn't actually make you go up.
Oh.
Yes, in the strictest sense, that's true. I'm not going to say that like you couldn't like work on a large enough treasure hoard that you couldn't liquefy it into bigger points, but then mechanically just having more items does not necessarily increase their wealth value.
Yes.
Fair enough.
It's not like a logarithmic scale. Like I said, if you guys want to, I know you had some thought. Yeah, go ahead. You had some thoughts about this, but
if you want to hold on to it and maybe see if we can trade it upwards and like, or barter it upwards, like that's a thing. But like, just holding on to it and hoping that we find more stuff to make it bigger is not the thing. We can't sit on it and expect it to grow. I think
that's fair.
We have to.
Yeah, actually, that was the. Sorry, you just made me think of a thing. If you want to grow your wealth, the good way to do that would be finding something to invest it in. So, like, honestly, you probably want to load it up with your loan money in your big boat and send it home. And when you get back to Teine, figure out if, like...
we can use it to invest in something, yeah.
Yeah, if we could liquidate this into the equivalent of 1 treasure, what's a project we could put 3 wealth in or 1 treasure in and then, have it grow? Like, whether that's, like... A business venture that somebody else goes on, or you
if
just
the fair ever.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. We could use it as like a monetary prize for the winner of a fair.
That could work. Because the other thing I was going to say is you could just give them out as gifts and probably get like temporary bonuses to company or other social actions of just like moving and schmoozing.
Yeah,
that's fair.
No, like let's
bring it back. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So. No, there's more things to do with it than just sit on it. I think that's what I'm trying. So
you guys, like I said, can run the inventory and compare.
Yeah.
I will say, I had this in mind. There is, I think, a slightly funny anecdote. As probably at breakfast or as you're leaving the breakfast table, Moira comes in and says, "All right, everybody, excellent work yesterday. I'm glad to see most of you remembered how to block and how to dodge, except for Logesh, but that's okay. He remembered to wear his armor this time."
No comment.
Moira, does deflecting lightning count?
No, that was pretty impressive. Yes, you've understood the higher level of evading. That's good. The only other thing I want to say is I hope none of you need your carriage today. It's gone to the repairman to get resurfaced and upholstered. And currently, I'm fairly certain your coachman is passed out at the bar of the Skinny Goat, where I believe he was since last night.
someone to check on him.
Yeah, I've been around. We can go get him. But he's minding his own business. But yeah, the coach will be down for a little bit.
That's
But
fine.
like I said, this I think works out for our discussion that did happen off mic as we were discussing travel arrangements, because I reminded everybody that the maximum passenger capacity of their carriage is 9, and I think we're at 9, so it'd be a little squished.
Oh, that reminds me. Loth, do you have ride by any chance?
Let's double check.
Coordination plus ride.
When it loads, why is my
It happens
Sure,
sometimes.
you should have one
You
already.
gotta find its little mind.
1?
Okay, so you
Okay.
do have ride.
What's your coordinate score?
Good.
Coordinate is 3.
Would you? Okay, so if Konrad and Logesh ride, and probably Inos as well, I'm not against it. I'll probably just put like 1 point in it though. That would put the 3 of
That
us.
would remove 3 people, so you're at 6, which is a much more normal passenger capacity.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
probably invest in Riot at some other point. It's not today.
so yeah, I will put a single point into ride. That'll give me a ride of 4.
Yeah, like I said, you guys, for the pace you're going to be setting, you probably do not need to be rolling ride most of the time. That will be like if you want to actually like direct your horse to go a certain way, if you want to make your horse move in a structured encounter, etc.
Etc. Etc.
But much like driving a car in most game systems, you do not have to constantly roll ride to just do anything. If one of you wants to break into a gallop, sure. But, and yeah. All right. So then after breakfast, as I'm sure you guys are thinking about what you're going to do with your day, Leslok is going to be summoned briefly to speak with the High King
What? Oh.
in his study. Like I said, this is kind of improv, so we don't need to like fully role play it out. The basics of it is the High King with the Lord Marshal and the Lady Magister present is going to have you basically go over all your testimony again. You know, how you figured out what was up at the house. You know, your
Brief
assertion that you discovered it be
question.
sorcery. Yeah.
Brief question to the others.
Okay.
I should mention all the actual like artifacts we found, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
That would be.
I was just curious if you had any like freaking notions about that or not.
I mean, I have
these
no
belong
strong
to-
attachments to any of the items that was found. So,
Okay.
well, except
I
for the
would like to
Calamity
keep-
Blade.
I will bring up what we have that, but I also feel like I'll mention that I feel like it's better in the hands of someone that's and like whose people are very used to dealing with very precious artifacts.
Yeah.
Of dangerous varieties.
I would also rather keep the snakes, but I don't
Snake.
think they have a problem.
I will
with that.
mention that you like have taken like
Custody of some snakes. Yeah.
you have like taken fancy of some snakes.
It's definitely a fancy.
Don't phrase it like that.
It's a fancy. You fancifier.
But yes, no. So yeah, and then you basically tell your version of the story of what happened when you got there. You know, being shot at by crossbows, thrown into lightning, and what you discovered there. So with your the question about recapping the artifacts, yeah. So the Lord Marshal, Grand Duke, he's got a reasonable facsimile of a wanted poster out. You know, he probably shows you the early print. It's based on your and probably Konrad and Kefis's descriptions from the other night. So it's like it's not perfect, but it's a pretty reasonable facsimile for what she looked like most of the time.
I think I gave it. I think that it had to be edited a few times because it's like because she looked me directly in the eye, so I know directly what like her direct face versus look like.
Well, and usually with this, because it's being a reconstructive sketch, not quite composite sketching, but you know what I mean. Like, it would probably be from the front on. That would be the common angle. It does have the name Mariposa Marsh on it though, and would put an appropriate amount of bounty on it. So those are going to be distributed throughout the city and the province of Crown in the coming and further if they can as well. They've recovered several stolen objects that have been redistributed. You've already talked about how you've taken custody of the other items to start tracking down their owners. The only other, I think, bits of information, obviously the High King spends a lot of the time, stroking his beard and going, and other such noises. But ultimately, the only, I think, new bit of information is that the Crown Constables did go around to the Vale and Vial. It was mysteriously struck by lightning last night, but luckily, because the constables were already looking into it, the local Night Watch and Fire Brigade was able to get it out before it burned completely to the ground. Mr. Todoros is mysteriously nowhere to be found, but his place was searched, and the Lord Marshal, brings up that it didn't seem to have an excess of, he did have some alchemical reagents, but didn't have like an excessive amount of them. What he did have a lot of was often a lot of opium tincture, laudanum, probably a larger amount than a merchant of his level should have. So their investigation into further operations of this syndicate will probably involve cooperation with House Cheval and House Marin to examine the former House Venin lands.
Probably have to, I guess, talk about how her books or anything that got remained is probably will have to be handed over before we leave.
Yes, ideally, if they're to pursue this operation, they'll have to take into custody the all of the various log books and ledgers you guys have acquired to start like naming and tracking people down and making arrests.
Of course. Leslok does not hide also that she was a summoner more than like.
Well, yeah, no, like I said, you tell the whole story, which probably includes the thing about the lightning. So yeah, no.
I do think Leslok does say I would like to keep her list of names just as something that
the grimoire is of no, like her book of sorcery learnings is of no practical value to the investigation. The Lady Magister might have wanted to like keep it as a curio, but no, it's much like the artifacts. I don't need you to roll. If it backfires in some way, you'll take the blame for it. That's fine. But yeah, you recovered your items. The Brigadine, the Silver Tongue, obviously, and the Calamitous Blade. Oh, actually, that did remind me. Sorry, this was another flavor note I was going to say when you were talking about receiving the items.
Flavor.
Among the things that you did recover are some of the fancy artifacts, which includes that strange, feather-trimmed, sable fur and wool cloak with kind of like oddly dark staining. Similar to how like Inos and Leslok, you both like twinged something on that being out of the ordinary, but couldn't quite place what it was for. Aurelia also kind of like looks at it and is like, "There's definitely something up with this. Can I hold on to this? I'm not sure what it's for."
I don't see any reason not to.
No.
Yeah.
I just think it's ritual. It's used for some kind of ritual.
Maybe we can figure it out. But yeah, the actual artifact of the capital A that do stuff are the Calamitous Blade and the Norlish Brigandine, and obviously Silver Tongue. So you take all of those.
Yeah.
I mentioned there was like a mantle and a crow pontifex from a few hundred years ago that are in surprisingly clean condition, but otherwise not enchanted in any way. Just squeaky clean. Those will need to be returned to the church along with any other like religious relics and artifacts recovered.
Of course.
But yeah, the High King basically, like I said, he's stroking his beard a lot throughout this and says, "The concern of a rogue sorcerer is indeed troublesome, but hopefully a round of wanted posters and information will be spread will be useful. I have already spoken to the royal chaplain, and indeed, letters are being sent to the Pontifex and the Witchfinder General of the Inquisitorius. I am certain they will take your statements as they have been relayed to me and the Lord Marshal, etc., in writing. But if it should come up at a later point, we will need to make yourself available as they prioritize the investigation of Maleficarum.
Maleficarum.
I understand.
But yeah, other than that, you're free to go about your business.
All right,
you've cleared everything up. So that
worked out as expected.
finishes off the business with Todoros. He's also gone into hiding. Or a Mariposa, obliterated him in an alley. Summoned a swarm of rats to eat him.
And something had to be the target for that lightning. Maybe he was inside.
More than likely.
But yeah, so that cottoned on to the major clue, other than more ledger books, which would have just led you to Yuckman House and Fallon Catus anyway. The other major bit of evidence that Todoros had is that he is clearly involved in the opium trade because he has a fuck ton of laudanum, which is probably more than someone of his station should normally be purchasifying.
Yeah.
But that's the because we have discussed this before, talking about the concept of smuggling, because you guys have your own issues of that to entangle. But the opium circuit is mostly done out of the marshy lowlands and hills in the southern part of Milieu. I think I'm gonna name that chunk of land down there probably the Crocodile's Head, or something appropriately evocative, if I haven't already. But
The crocodile's
that terrain is under House Biscon, under House Marin, and the marshy terrain is very good for growing, poppy there, because you can take the milk of the poppy and turn it into, a perfectly legitimate painkiller. But also, you can abuse the hell out of that because it's, one of the world's oldest narcotics. So
True.
most of the
always like
illegal
getting
opium
high.
trade also comes out of there.
Right.
Not to turn this into an episode of Narcos or anything, but I did think about what illegal goods were good, and I'm just well, the Mako trade is probably bumping and smuggling, but that's got a very limited scope, so it's going to be opium, the poppy. But yeah, so that's that connection. All leads to basically the former territory of House Fennon is a. It seems like it's a major power center for your enemies? Question mark. Some stuff you're gonna have to handle. After that, probably you probably are escorted to and from the study by the Crown Prince, who probably does just drop you a line, Leslok, that the plan is to for you and your guests to withdraw to Chateau d'Aragon tomorrow.
Oh.
So you have the rest of the day at your blah blah your service. And let me just check. I believe that should only be by horseback anyway. Should only be it's only a couple hours by horse or carriage. Longer if you were on foot, but the Castle of the Dragon is
And I'll just get everything
very
prepared then.
close. Yeah. Were there any other things about the Moonlight House business we did not resolve yet?
No. I do think that Inos is probably going to be locked up for this day, identifying items and trying to find out who they belong to, unfortunately.
I don't have anything else in mind.
So I would say all of you have your. I know. I was going to say a couple of you. I know at least
To talk to a
Konrad
lady
has a
about a
thing.
horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also don't need to roleplay that too deeply. I can probably say that. I was gonna say I need to take a break for a second, come back, and you guys can think about what else you want to do. But we can still do that. But I can say, Nicola, your conversation. You drop a note or go call on Agave Cheval. It's very brief. Her recommendation is probably either, there's a stable master, at like the major gates of the city. There's probably like a guy who can put you in contact with horses for sale, or rent, or you can just ask the crown to provide, and she's certain that the office of the couriers can find you a perfectly functional horse.
I would probably ask the office of the couriers then, because I trust them more than myself buying a horse.
I think you'll probably be loaned a respectable horse.
Our harpy friend, when is she due back?
She just got sent out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's another like 4 or 5 days loop. What did you think about? You think about sending more messages?
Well, we'll probably need to send more messages eventually. It's just if we've left, we'll probably have to leave messages saying, "Hey, we're going here next," and then when we get to that place, "Hey, if we don't catch up, or we have gone here," so she can find us.
That is how the mail works back in the day.
Oh, excuse me.
This is why Leslok is desperately trying to invent sorceress telephone. Because it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
But all right, I will. I'm going to take a pause recording and take a quick break. I will be right back. You guys think about it. What things you have to do in the city, if anything.
I think about it, and it's like
The city underwater.
weird thing is I want to like test pricking my thumbs, but that destroys the item I use for it, so I'll save it for what actually matters.
Okay.
What does pricking your thumbs do?
It's a tracking spell.
What do you want to track?
Mariposa. But technically I don't need to.
Certain
If I wanted
Right
swamp
now?
maybe.
It was more to see if it was like
He just doesn't like that he got beaten in the chase.
no, it's more of like I had this thing in my mind of being I can always find you again, but that's not necessary and not worth it. So I don't really have anything else in mind right now, and I feel weird about that.
Okay to not have anything planned. It means we can progress with the story.
Yeah,
with
let's
the
move on, yeah.
timeline.
Go on, yeah. It's not like Burning Where because the training actually matters.
I'm out of coffee.
Sad.
Yes.
I'm gonna make myself some more chicken. I'm gonna burst some more dinosaur nuggets.
Dino Nuggets! But, okay.
Made of real dinosaur.
Yeah. You know what?
Chickens are just tiny dinosaurs.
It's true. Tiny dinos. But let me think here. Think. What would probably... Yeah, no, we should probably handle all the biz we got here. So, leave letters. Probably write our farewell messages to all our friends, loved ones, and intendeds. Leave messages for where we're going. We should finalize sending off our stuff. Tell Lucy where she should meet us in in I don't know how long. Let her get back on the sea and do stuff so her guys aren't going stir crazy.
Sounds about right. Nothing else to add there.
I will let go of the 2 guys I temporarily hired. I'll write them nice letters of recommendation, saying, hey, Goldsmith Master Inos thinks these guys are cool and do good work.
They're a part of this thing and this thing.
Yes. You know what? No, fuck it. I'm gonna wing it. Like, I'm gonna wing it right until it actually becomes important. I'll be a very awkward horse rider. Fuck it.
I mean, you got 3rd place in that championship.
It's like... I got 3 coordination, so I can probably do something okay. But I will just look like a fucking fool, and I'm okay with that right now. There's no one here I need to impress. Lucy on the boat. Noctiluca, probably going back home. Princess Estelle, man, she's going the opposite, fuck. She's gone. So I can I can be a fool.
What are you giggling about, Dallas?
Oh, I just had a thought Omega might do something very funny.
I doubt it.
What, jinx you while riding on a horse?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if you have to make any. You have to roll a ride check for me to jinx it. Anyway, I'm back. I've had the audio going.
I still think of Lucky's thing of like, I think your best chances now are still with Lucy. I think with Princess Estelle nowadays.
Hey, I think I have favorable pressures with all 3 of them. The hardest one is clearly Princess Estelle because she is literally third in line for the crown and has not really given thoughts of matters of romance, really.
She has a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. I was thinking of the wrong person. I'm thinking of Noctiluca. My bad.
Noctiluca is also difficult in her own right. That is, she's the heir of their house, and she is very honor and duty bound to, you know, protect her home, protect her lands, you know. So I would not, you know, not be inclined to go gallop off to a whole nother country while. I mean, they probably get past the Falkland, and I don't want to do Falkland dirty. I like him. I like Falkland.
It is also the furthest away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can actually say this because you said for sure that Inos is probably spending all day in. I was trying to work on an angle where somebody might object to Inos clearly expressing his interest in multiple young ladies at once with a duel, but I don't think they're going to get that opportunity before you leave the town. So I'll have to work in such a plot device later.
Bring it.
All right.
That's a pretty cool, this kind of thing.
The GM will remember this.
Oh, that'll wait for later.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I've been back and had audio going for a little bit. Who has anything on their to-do lists for getting out of town? I know for a fact Konrad still has to give a thing to Rena.
Conrad would probably send a message to Rena to try and arrange a dinner.
Okay, you should be able to do dinner tonight. Yeah.
We only have
Probably find some sort of place that she's probably a place you've been to before that she's expressed a like of.
Going through the rest of the items. How long do you think that would take, Omega?
I mean, they're kind of like only collectively 3 altogether, so there's not super a lot of them. Probably the better part of your day,
Okay.
but not the entirety of it. especially if you can rustle up some assistance.
Well, I still have the 2 assistants that I got from the Goldsmith Guild, so I can have them help. But Inos will probably be doing a lot of inspections of goods, looking for maker marks, and probably consulting with people on identifying marks and relying on Read the Soul to gather more information on them after that. But that takes part of the day. That means I'm probably locked up. After we're done with that, Inos is going to write... is basically going to release the Journeyman and Apprentice goldsmiths with letters of recommendation from him, so that they basically get get a nice what's the word? Well, recommendation. I think that is the word.
Yeah.
And also gift them a silver ring made Iron Demon style with his name, with Enos' name inscribed on it, and say, this is a favor. If you need me, just bring me this ring and I'll do what I can to help you.
All right.
But then he will let them go. Neat. Sorry, I paused because Mega put something in the chat.
Yes, I posted directly from my notes what the preface to the treasures are.
Oh, Inos will probably busy his early evening with writing letters. Lucy is probably busy herself tonight, isn't she?
Probably.
Yeah, I won't bother her then. Instead of trying to drag her away for dinner, I'll let her focus on getting all.
Especially if we do the thing we talked about at the before the session we started recording. If you guys are gonna split up your luggage, everything you're not gonna need on a road trip to put back on the Seawolf to basically be waiting for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I will leave her, but I will definitely see if Noctiluca wants to have dinner one last time before we separate for a while. Other than that, it'll be writing letters goodbye to friends and acquaintances. So Paz, right?
Actually, that's pitch perfect, actually.
Hmm?
Yes, Noctiluca will go out to dinner.
Excellent. So yes, and he will write after dinner, although I feel like something's going to happen at dinner. Enos will probably be writing messages and packing.
You've been in contact with the Crown Prince today, Leslok. Yes. Kefis has somehow managed to finagle that he's coming along.
It's like, what? I'm here.
This
Hello.
was not originally in your plan, but
It's fine. It's advantageous to me.
I will not say the first thing that came to my mind.
we're very good at that here.
I'll not say the first 10 things that came to mind.
Well, maybe you should say some of the things that came to mind just so you say a few things more on the recording.
I'm sorry.
I know, you just woke up, but...
Well, the one thing I was going to say earlier was probably just Logesh will pat Enos on the back, give him a thumbs up.
At what?
Your dinner plans?
Oh, yeah. I didn't tell you my dinner plans.
But he knows
Well,
them
shit.
anyway.
Yeah, fuck it.
Enos has been running around looking at a bunch of items and, writing letters and messages, and then if someone asks him what he's going to probably do tonight, he'll say, but he's not going to, kick down the parlor door and be like, oh, I got the dinner date.
Well, if you are running around like that, yeah, probably Logesh would inquire what you're doing.
Oh, well. Yeah, then Enos would explain what he is doing. Yes.
And with a hand over his heart, or maybe where he got stabbed, Logesh will give him a thumbs up with his free hand and wish him all the best.
I feel like there's something snarky I could say about not needing his best, but I think I will not. Well, that's me's.
I'm all good.
All right. Well, I think we hashed out most of Nicola quiz. What about Logesh? What are your plans? Anything you need to tell?
Anything I need to tell at the moment?
He's
Not right now.
If
Think
anybody
about it.
did need to go back and acquire anything, like we were talking about horses earlier, you've had the data to plan and prep and make sure you've got all your correct items packed. So I will probably
Logesh-
not harsh you about anything. Go ahead.
Logesh will probably send a letter to Ainara and Rodrigo, wishing them well, and that hopefully he'll see them again soon.
I will remind
course
you
for-
that a letter to Rodrigo will take a while to go because he already left a couple of days ago.
Exactly. That's fine.
Just saying. Yes, all
Yep.
right. All right. Dallas is muted for a little bit. Well, if Nicola needs anything, we can go back to it. Other than... Sorry, water. Other than the earrings, is there anything in particular about dinner with Rena that Konrad needs to go over, or that you need to go over, Aren, as Konrad? My microwave brain is affecting my grammar.
Oh no.
Don't
I
use
don't
the
think
popcorn
so.
button.
I mean, Rena probably knows Konrad well enough that he's acting a bit differently because he accomplished something and he has a huge weight off his shoulders.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she would ask about that.
He's not so frumpy face.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of one thing that I forgot that Konrad was going to do at some point during the day. Everyone gets a surprise Konrad hug at some point.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Things really are serious.
Inos will probably immediately call for Nicola. Is Konrad drugged? Hi. Not feeling well.
Nicola, there's something wrong with him?
What? What?
Nope, I'm out.
You're gonna have to have a true bro hug with your brother later earlier.
Konrad does not usually do such public displays of affection. He usually does not do private displays of affection either.
That we know of so far.
Oh yeah, but
What is that?
Alice. The world's
wrapper.
largest paper bag.
In my dinner.
Very deep bag.
Fuck you, Dallas.
But yeah, no. Rena does probably at least politely bring up of Konrad seems like he's in a cheerful mood, possibly in spite of the whatchamacallit, the news going around. It's probably been rumored or outright stated. Fighting with criminal element, you've basically busted up the greater part of the smuggling ring in the city, so people have probably started hearing about that, and the fact that House Logi was involved would probably not be kept super secret.
yeah, if she asked, Konrad would be completely frank with her and just explain that it's the fact that he got his father's sword back.
So what's your ramen different than my ramen?
One Dallas, please.
Okay, Dallas, please mute up.
I got it.
Server mute.
I don't know why. Oh, sorry. Lucky I had to tap his. It's funny. Dallas had his main mic
Hey
muted.
guys, I'll be right back.
Okay. That's going to make my next scene transition slightly awkward, but I gotta say, it's funny. Dallas knew to mute his microphone when he stepped away, but then didn't keep it muted while he's juggling his paper bags. Anyway, hold on, I'm itching my nose. But yes, no. Rena would probably know from talking with Konrad that was, one of the things that is like, she probably doesn't understand like what all you've been doing to work on that project, because I can't imagine Konrad was necessarily sharing that sort of thing.
Probably not.
But she would probably. I think I can say that it seems like the kind of thing she would know that was like important to you. So, yeah, probably like very heartfelt but polite congratulations. I did it to double check, and Renan doesn't have a huge empathy pool, but so she would not notice if you were concealing things really, but she can pick up on the mood.
Okay. Probably the only other thing is like he would promise to like stay in touch and keep her apprised of his plans in Teine involving gaining land and being worthy of her hand.
Yeah, I can't think of exactly at this moment, again, microwave brain, what she would say, but she would probably, pat Conrad's hat and say something sweet, about worthiness. She thinks you're plenty worthy of her affection already, but it's it's a complicated matter.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what Nicola said something earlier about. Well, nothing in life is, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably about it.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, Lucky is still away, so I may not get to spring my cunning trap on him anyway. Sorry, I'm yawning.
Oh no. Cunning trap.
And the difference between 30 minutes and an hour and 30 minutes is something, huh? I'm good for a little bit longer, at least.
Let's try to at least get to the tour.
Well, you'll get to something. I mean, I don't know what you thinking about the tour. The tour is not great for me. I have to tell you about places and things.
That's fair.
Probably at the Chateau Dragon.
Yeah, you can definitely do the chateau, and I can like talk to you guys about your itinerary, like your actual planned itinerary in full and stuff. And there's a few other things. But like the funnily enough, the part that's and that the joke actually worked my comment about an hour 30 is different from 0:30. The part where game mastering is easiest for me is stuff like Nicola's intervention, because even if I have to like occasionally think of a plot question or something, or stick an NPC reaction in, which I don't think anybody commented on. I typed rather than interrupt the flow of conversation, but I had a great zinger from Alestra that I don't think anybody picked up on, where Nicola asked out loud, well, how many is a couple?
I got 2, but in this case it's 3.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
I just didn't make to say that. I just didn't know what to say.
It's fine. Yeah, no, I don't want to... It's not even the right tab, but I don't want to exposit about... like dress and formalities, because I'll have to repeat myself to Lucky anyway. But also, it would probably be awkward to pause it, because I don't know if he paused the recording while he stepped out. Which probably not, because we were in the middle of something.
Yeah, I assume that he probably didn't.
I had a question, Omega.
That's fair.
To fill some time.
Yeah.
How large are these prime elementals?
They are usually, I think, equivalent to person size, because they have a humanoid silhouette.
Can you make them like a little shorter, like say like 4 feet tall?
Probably. Let me see what it actually says. For cosmetic purposes, it can look like anything person-sized or smaller.
Okay.
It just has the same number of wound boxes and hit locations as a human.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking I might make one of those for a guard before we leave.
Well, I was gonna ask, since you were unmuted, if you'd gotten everything out of the way you wanted for
Honestly,
But-
casting this would probably be my only thing left.
Hmm.
Just gotta figure
Well,
out which
you
one
take
I
a
want to. Which one would make the best guard?
Yes, and keep in mind you are about to be traveling, so you want to be careful.
Yeah,
You probably
probably
should
not the
put a
fire or
salamander
light ones.
elemental in your carriage.
Yeah, no. I was leaning towards. I'm basically leaning towards one of two,
Fire
and you
hot.
could probably guess. It's metal or earth.
Yeah.
Because while the water one is cool, I don't know how useful it would be.
Well, not if you're not planning on swimming.
Yeah.
But yeah, Noma elemental has extra armor, and they also get shove attacks, and they get +1d on their checks to assist you to do things like dig or move earth.
Whereas the metal ones are pointy.
Yes, you can put their skill dice in parry and weapon, and they can use metal weapons and armor. Width. Shack with their opposite elements. It's not reduced by AR. You can perform multiple actions.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the metal one. For flavor purposes, can I have it be made out of like a mercurial substance?
Yeah, it can look like it's made of quicksilver.
Yes, actually.
Probably means you would use, powdered silver or like maybe a small mirror as some of your ingredients.
Oh yeah.
And you said before you're wealth 4, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to
wealth 4.
acquire some gemstone dust and stuff.
Yeah, I would most likely have Olympia buy that for me. Obviously, give her the money, but
Well, yeah, but she can acquire it for you. That's the power of having employees.
yeah.
Well, if you are okay to rock on that, and you can roll it out
Yeah, probably will.
because there will be a little bit of bookkeeping involved.
Yeah, because you do have to do stats based on your height.
Oh, it gives you the points you get to work with. Okay.
Well, there's different things determined by different stats, and depending on which one you do, it's different.
Fair.
I know I just said it depends a lot of different ways.
I'm just looking at the spell.
It depends.
Yeah, it's rating and body coordination and sense is based on the height of the roll.
Well, that's a
Oh,
10.
You got 10s.
The 10s, yeah.
Okay, so that means that it's body sense and coordination are 5.
Not too
It's
shabby.
half your height.
And then you go up to your no plus sorcery pool, which is probably like 8 or 9 or 10.
A
mean,
no
you see it
plus
just there.
sorcery?
9, yeah.
Or is it no plus my specific brand of sorcery?
No plus your specific sorcery. Yeah, it's the pool you just
Oh,
rolled. So you
okay.
have nine dice to assign it to skills like
Yeah.
fight, dodge, sight, stealth. Normal
Probably
skills
be
that like animals would have, and
I
because you
see.
picked metal, you can put
Yeah.
them in parry and weapon.
Yeah, it'd probably be. I probably wouldn't put it in. Oh no, I would put it in weapon. Yeah, I'd probably put it in weapon sword. So I'll probably put 3 dice in weapon sword, 3 dice in parry. 3
Run is
dice
also a
in-
valid skill. Dodge, obviously, sight, etc.
Then you probably put
3
like
dice in. Well, it's
I mean-
supposed. I'm making it as a guardian, so.
You
3
like
fight.
9 skill points, I guess, in this case, or no?
I have 9 skill points.
Yeah.
So I'm looking one more. I only want to do 3 skills. I don't want to overcomplicate this.
Probably sight or scrutinize then if you wanted to guard stuff.
Yeah, probably sight, because that's more of the lookout one.
I would recommend 4 skills, put 2 in each, and then 3 in one of them.
All right. I'll put 3 in parry, 2 in weapon
Good for you.
sword, 2 in sight, and
2 and run.
what's another guard skill?
Run is a good one.
Yeah, 2 in run.
All right, and it's got, like I said, body coordination and sense 5.
It would be
and
like
it's got
7s and 8s on that.
the
Yeah.
same damage silhouette as a human. 4 in head, 10 in torso, etc.
Yep.
It has 1 AR for free.
Yeah.
And you could probably just have outfitted in like heavy armor.
I mean, it would still take the penalties, but yeah, you can.
No,
you can work on that later.
I'm not gonna bother outfitting it in armor. Why would?
Well, it can wear armor made of metal to
Is
do
it
more
Oriad, so
AR,
it
but
can.
it's got 1 and everything. And it will last for 2 years if you're using your 10s.
Yep.
Might as well get a nice sword.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get
for,
it
probably a helmet.
actually
Getting
just
it a
for
hat at
aesthetic
least
purpose.
to mark who it is and say it's yours might be an idea.
Oh no, yeah, I'm
Because
getting
like
a
I said,
helmet.
Nicola there's now just a little metal man following Nicola around.
Yeah, I was gonna give it basically the same armor setup I have, just so it's unrestricted in its movements.
Makes sense.
I see the practical application that still weirds me out.
That's fair. I
Already
do just
probably
have
makes
the
it come
fucking
like,
silver
you should play
chariot
this.
following me around now.
Yeah, basically.
Which means I need to get it a rapier, obviously. Um, yeah. How much does a rapier cost?
You may or may not
It's like
hear
Wealth 2.
Konrad say under his breath when he sees the thing, new target, dummy.
Just kind of like
God, metal man.
Silver chariot.
it's actually probably it's got body 3 and you could give it 3 dice and parry. It's got a pretty good block.
Buddy 5.
Yeah, sorry, body 5 and then you put 3 in. So yeah, it rolls 8 dice.
It does roll 8 die for parry. I didn't expect to do that well, honestly.
No, I was surprised, but when I saw the 10s, I'm like, well, you're taking the 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want 1, 4, or 5? Because you had 2 8s as well.
Yeah, no.
2s, obviously, but yeah, no.
I was
they're
expecting
all-
like
they're
3
all
or
2 in.
4.
Yes. Well, if you're watching the video version, chat, I'm gonna pause the audio again and go step away because I need to get a new bottle of water. And I don't know if the video is going or not, but Lucky's still not back, so I'm gonna go take an opportunity to get my water. Here.
Alrighty.
Ramen.
Okay.
Okay. I'm back.
Hello.
We're back.
Lucky is not back.
I see this. This
I
is
assumed he has been eaten by goblins.
Well, I hope not, because that means that the video edit will never end. It'll go on forever.
Sorry.
Ah, okay.
Here we
He's
are.
back.
I'm back. I did not think that'll take that long. My friend was all like, "Hey, dude, my C drive is filled with like 100 gigs of stuff, and there's actually nothing new installed on here. What's happening?" And I'm looking at him like, I have no fucking idea. See
So
if I
find all the secret files and get rid of them.
I couldn't find them.
Time to check C cleaner.
That's what I did. Was able to free up 6 gigs. That was it.
Man.
His computer is obviously haunted. You need to smash it with a hammer.
No, I need to hire a fucking priestess and have it consecrated.
Yeah, no, that's how you
Machine spirit
consecrate
is
it. Smash it
angry.
with a hammer.
Anyway, you did not miss much, Lucky. I just came back from a water break. The primary thing is that Nicola has summoned a little metal man.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's got good stats.
It has 5 body, 5 coordination, and 5
Sense.
sight.
Sense.
Percent.
You only gave it 2 dice in sight.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I made silver. I essentially made silver chariot.
Neat.
It even has a rapier.
Konrad may have dented it already.
No,
It's got
fighting my
armor
metal
1,
man,
so.
please.
I can get past that.
It's not a question.
I can try. All right, so that does mean that while I was fishing out where to go next, I can go back to where we were with Inos was dinner. You did not have anything in particular to talk about at dinner.
No.
Anything specific
No.
you wanted to say? Okay.
No, it's
I don't know why Axe answered for you.
No, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time more with Nagaluka before we see each other. Never!
Well, since you foolishly went outside, even after I warned you,
Yep.
when you are leaving the dinner, probably returning Noctiluca to her carriage, Inos, your facial region is met with a glove.
Mm-hmm.
A leather glove is thrown at you, and a gentleman stands there and says, You, sir? I believe you have offended my honor, and the honor of all just young men and ladies in this town. You have been seen giving an exceptionally high-quality gift to the princess, but also you are seen out and about courting other young ladies. I want to stand for this. This person, you probably vaguely recognize him by builds, but not his face, because the last time you would have seen this man, and I think, did he make it to the... Yeah, he's in the citizens list. He's in the Dramatis.
Oh my god, he's serious, isn't he?
Well, you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, oops.
Enos went out alone to dinner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which makes it even more of a funny ambusher. You only met this person, though, Enos, at the Masquerade Ball,
Oh, okay.
where he was masked, obviously. But it is Brandon Drake.
This name
He's
does sound
thrown the
familiar.
glove at you and says, "I challenge you to a duel, sir." He's he's about, looks like, he's about 20. Handsome young man, slightly boyish face, splash of freckles, shock of red hair. He's, wearing kind of a dark duelist's coat, though he's got a couple of buttons open dramatically. Sword belt, sturdy boots. Obviously looking, like he knows how to dress and arrange himself, but is not coming from an excessive amount of wealth. You are probably wearing a higher quality of clothing, though he, like I said, he wears it very tastefully. So yeah, you have been challenged to a duel. So the way this works is, etiquette-wise anyway, if challenged, you can just acquiesce and basically apologize for offending his honor and attempt to make reparations, but that would obviously mean you would have to admit that such a wrong has occurred, which I feel like is not usually in the Enos playbook. But we've talked about this with some of our previous duels. As the challenged, you have the opportunity to pick the field of honor. Name the place, and make sure to acquire a second and all that.
Sorry, Enos is just kind of silently yes, and it's like, before all this gets, pray tell me, why is it a concern of you and yours the matters of love in the hearts of others?
He kind of tilts his head a little. You think he wasn't expecting this genre of response, but he says still offhand, resting on his sword belt, and he's like, "That is the business of all upstanding young gentlemen and gentlewomen, I suppose, in the matters of this. We are talking about matters of politeness, propriety, courtship."
So you're saying that even though that I have been honest, forthright, and free with my intentions, that I have still done someone wrong?
Definitely, he's kind of, he's kind of much like how I'm, working over, trying to figure out how to respond to this. He's definitely thinking in his head how to respond to it, and he says,
Preach!
"You're not there. Shut up. Quiet."
The doorman's
That's
there, at least.
No, Enos is genuinely wondering about this.
You're, also, all of you other people who are not Enos speaking, Enos is standing on the street corner in the Gold District right now. He's left dinner.
Yeah.
You know what? Right, that's on the way down.
People
You're
watching.
right.
He didn't dine in.
I'm creating
Not only are you not there, but also
chariot.
you don't know anybody who's there.
Fair.
Unless Konrad happens to have gone to the same restaurant, none of you are here.
Yeah.
It would be very funny if Konrad wants to say you went to the same restaurant.
Probably not.
No.
Probably went to her estate.
But yeah, so he kind of says, yeah. And he says, Well, if you have truly been honorable and forthright, that is a matter, I suppose, between you and your own courting. But I say that you are, a gentleman, just as I am. Which, hey, props, he does call you a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Just as I am, and it is of a matter that I believe that the what's the phrase I'm looking for here? The rules of society, of propriety, are simple that it is not proper to show such possibly serious courtship to so many ladies or suitors of any variety, unless you wish to say, sir, that the magnificent musical box that you have crafted, which has indeed been heard of by all of Lampclair, he does raise his voice slightly there, was not from the heart. You can roll empathy if you want to get a read.
Yeah, I will. Empathy. No, I think this does kind of deal with my cravings, because I am trying to, I want to know, is this actually ill looked upon? Am I in the wrong? I want to know. I almost tapped roll!
Good job
As
at
usual,
dodging
we're
that.
rolling so few tonight.
I got a pair of 5s.
3s and 5s. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So, you take a look at this guy, Brandon Drake. We've talked before about how we've discussed the format of names for orphaned or illegitimate unrecognized children. Drake is the name for Crown.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a guy who's clearly got the bearing of a gentleman, the training of a swordsman, but does not have a family name to speak of.
So he probably is the product of an unserious, ungentlemanlike love.
Yes. That said, this doesn't seem to be, while he probably does have some relationship in that way that he is, more inclined to work on these things and your situation occurred to him this way. Definitely you feel like he decided to actually I'll start over. He decided to start this process of challenging someone, ending up with you to a showy duel over the matter, because you get the impression that this guy he's listed in the Dramatis as a freelance duelist. It is his nature to, challenge people to duels because that's one of the few things he's, got going for him.
Mm-hmm.
He has a sword. He knows how to use it. He, does not have a wealth of other skills to go for, because obviously because of his station, it's probably, did not have the familial, wealth and connections to get accepted into a chivalric order or anything like that.
And start off as a blacksmith.
But I would probably say that the reason why he picked you to issue this challenge to is probably because, as I said, he is presumably a illegitimate gentleman, or unacknowledged at least. Genuinely, he confused is not quite the right response, but he's definitely reticent about your responses. He seems to be under the impression that the kind of guy who would, go around seriously or not seriously, courting upwards of 3 or 4 ladies. We don't actually know how all the rumors spill out about your score, would, be unknown, I guess, to the idea of a challenge. But he is pitching this as a challenge for the sake of just hey man, you're kind of high profile right now, and you appear to be making serious moves on several contradictory ladies. That's not cool. But the real reason is also I want to emphasize publicly that that's not cool and call you out on it because then people will think I am cool.
I'm going to use you as a stepping stone for my spotlight.
This
This
you know
is
what?
a PR stunt.
We need to bring this back in real life. If anyone we think is, if we think anyone is disrespecting the reputation of men in general, we should just be able to fight them legally.
I challenge you to a boxing match,
I
Kerr.
challenge Elon Musk to a fight.
Inos kind of mulls this over. It's like,
I think Noctiluca's kind of like paused in her, in her carriage, but not driven off yet.
Inos, pipes up. Like, you'll have to forgive me, as I am not well versed in the ways of men in dueling. What happens if one wins, and what happens if one loses?
This kind of like puts into a pause, and he says, I apologize, sir. I thought, given the story, anyway, of you being present at your own ice cream social, which involved a duel, I thought you were more familiar. The code Duello is straightforward. You, if challenged, if you accept the challenge, which, yeah, no, I'll say it in kind of a lower tone. He, kind of lowers his voice though and says, "Which would mean you are a coward, a cur, and a bounder, etc." He, like I said, he does say that with a very deadpan way, like not trying to shout it out loud yet. You have your pick of the field of honor, the time and the place, and should find a second to represent you to get in contact with my second so that we might meet at the place. As the challenged party, you also have the right to set the terms. The conditions by which I mean first blood is most common. Basically, saying stuff that you would already know from your garden party duel. But since you were actually Logesh's second then.
Well, yeah, no. Inos understands, how to fight a duel, but he doesn't actually fully grasp the concept of what does it mean to win or lose a duel.
Yes.
Fair.
Should we meet on the field of honor? If you are victorious, you have proved through skill and luck that your path is righteous, and I shall have to. This he does kind of raise his voice and theatrical up a little. I shall have to apologize for offending your honor. But should you lose the challenge, you will have proven that your skill and honor are insufficient. And while that shall be taken publicly enough as sign of you being in the wrong, usually the party who fails the challenge also issues an apology upon their word of honor.
So if I was to take this duel and lose, I would have to apologize for loving someone. Inos gets a little frosty at this.
How should he respond to this? I think he kind of he reads your frostiness, so like you see like a twitch in his face. Like his first instinct is to kind of like, you don't really know if it would have been like a smug smirk or more of a shy smile, but there's definitely something of like a twist. But he can also read a room, and switches his vibe and says, "Apologies for love are a matter of poets and writers. What I say, sir, is that your external conduct of courtship has been less than gentlemanly. And for that, I would have you prove your honor or apologize." Basically, he's trying to say in a polite way here, what you feel on the inside, I don't care. it cares about the fact that you have been, because you I don't think you've made a super secret about the fact that you have been performing acts reasonably resembling a courtship with several ladies. You've been whining, dining, giving gifts, giving very expensive, showy gifts. At this point, by the way, this conversation has been going on for like 5 minutes. There's a slight crowd forming.
I see. Inos turns to Noctiluca, I assume who hasn't left yet.
Yeah, I said she's still sitting in her carriage.
It's all like, my little knight, what do you make of this?
She kind of like folds her arm and says, well, I cannot say personally if I feel beyond my own personal feelings. I personally do not feel offended if you are seen speaking or dining with other young ladies, Master Inos, as we must all comport our own business around. But how other ladies, and how indeed our peers in society, she also emphasizes the word peer.
Mhm.
You are gaining a little bit of street cred by proxy here, Inos. You've been called a gentleman and a peer tonight.
Mhm.
Nice.
May find polite. Though
It's gonna
I
end
should
with this guy
also-
going, "My man."
I should also let you know, remind you that she gestures to, your chain belt area. Actually, good question. Would you go rocking the chains on the street? You
Yeah.
are not being escorted right now.
Yes, I would. Like I
Okay.
said, they're my weapon and my fashion accessory.
Yeah. But yeah, so she gestures, mainly to your lack of a sword belt. If the challenged party, gentleman or gentle lady, can say on their honor that they are not a fencer, they are within their rights to request the champion. She, pats her sword side where, she's wearing rapier and short blade. It just so
Hey!
happens that I myself am
I
a
got-
fencer.
Champion, you
Wow, Dallas decided to explosively
hang on one
speak and break
second.
up a little there.
Oh, did you not? Did I get eaten by Discord?
Yeah, you peeked a little there. What did you say?
I said I have a champion you could borrow.
I don't know if that would count. The funny thing is, I actually, like I said, I planned for this encounter to happen just sometime when you guys were out in the town getting ready to leave, but Enos hasn't left the shop for a little bit. So the funny one would just be in my mind. I can give you the image of just like you could just hear, Moira cracking her neck muscles in the back. She is the fencing master of your house, but Noctiluca does suggest to that, and you can see, to let your empathy ride, Mr. Drake here definitely has kind of a moment of like, when because before you left Noctiluca, she basically in a roundabout way suggested that she could champion. You can see, because you've already rolled your empathy, Enos, that Mr. Drake here is seeing that is not necessarily an optimal outcome for him.
Mhm.
He kind of, said, and he says, "Indeed, that is correct, madam, miss." But yeah, Noctiluca basically said in response to your question that she's not personally offended, but she can't answer for any other ladies you may be going on dates with.
Well, now I'm gonna have to go talk to Lucy about this.
And indeed, social. So we have talked about this. It is possible to have multiple spouses in this context, but we have not really talked about the process for that. It does kind of
It feels like a
seems to
noble
have
thing.
implied. Well, there's that too, but also nobody seems to have implied that you get marriage allianced up multiple times at once. It seems to be more of a sequential thing.
Yeah.
For alliances.
Sounds about right.
and like I said, you've already rolled empathy on this guy, and you know that like he has a vaguely legitimate reason to make the challenge to you, but he is clearly picking fights for the nature of picking fights.
It's like... And in these duels, are we supposed to be using rapiers and like fencing foils and whatnot?
Yes, swords is the usual format. Noctiluca didn't mention explicitly because that would also go against the vibe, but this is actually a thing. If you swore on your, honor as a gentleman, you are not a fencer, you would be allowed to, as the challenged party, also pick the allowed weapons for the conflict. This is how you can get pistol duels and other things. So you could say, and I don't think you've used a rapier or other blade at all in the capital this time.
Never.
Like you've in like the time skip in the prologue, you've had some fencing lessons, but you're not really very strong at it. So
No.
yeah, you would have very legitimate grounds to just be like, well, I can't sword. I feel like Drake kind of like adjusts his collar slightly and says, indeed, strictly speaking, the rules sometimes feel like they are slightly arranged so that one may find the best opportunity for them to appear talented or skilled.
And many ways you could handle this.
Yeah, I do not. As much as I appreciate Noctiluca's offer for like this, I do not want to involve her in something that is clearly my fault. Like I said, I think that'd be strange? Or
untoward?
Yeah.
Untoward's a good word for it. It would be like this is the thing I talk about with like trying to find more opportunities to like get you guys out in the field and challenge your ideas, not just Enos's. Like I feel like Inos hasn't really put a lot of thought into the social propriety of his process of courting. Like I know you've thought a lot about the conclusion of such efforts and like what that means, but the fact that Inos has and shows affection has not really stopped him before, and now we come to this moment of like, oh yeah, other people probably think I'm a serial dater, which is a thing people can use against you, as it were.
Yeah.
Like I said, this guy doesn't seem genuinely offended.
It's not. There's some malice here.
Actually, no. He is offended about something, but I think he's more offended about the fact that you are brazen enough to attempt to date multiple women at once and get away with it, rather
Especially
than the fact
princess.
that you are doing it.
Well, that's his lacking, not mine.
Yeah, that should be his problem.
So no, if it's duel with the swords, no. If he was being an actual ass about it, I'd be like, all right, a duel to the death.
Canes.
But it's all like, you want to be offended at it, pay with then wager your life upon it. But no, he is not being
You're
an
paying
ass.
with your blood.
He is not being an ass. So
I also I also did want to be, because I thought about if it could be a thing, but I also want to be. I decided to be careful about this. He's not really being like racist about it either. He's not like, I'm offended you when I, a demon, try to date the princess.
No, he called me a gentleman, and he's being very patient in explaining things. So
yeah, like I said, he actually does seem to have, like, he's got the manners of a gentleman for sure. This guy has some points and graces.
Mm-hmm.
Like he realized that there was possibly a social miscommunication with the concept of the duel.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned this while you stepped away, but I was thinking about doing this at different points. But the funny route to being championed was, I was just going to say, is just Moira in the back, cracks her neck muscles.
Well, Moira is my go-to right now. I'm just thinking of how like the win and Though when and where, because we're leaving tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
Mm,
I would probably make you roll something to like socially massage the situation, but you could say you are going to be a guest at the Chateau Dragon tomorrow and do not have the time to set a field of honor.
You could do it like when you
like
we're leaving on the way
can
back.
Can we make the Field of Honor to the Chateau Dragon?
I mean, you don't know how the High King would feel about you having a duel on his front lawn.
True enough.
You could. That would be very bold in public.
Yeah,
I don't think this is
but if he
worth it.
loses, I feel like it will hurt him that much more. And I'm starting to like this dude. So I don't want him overly disgraced. I do want to put him in his place a little bit.
Oh, I should say, physically, things you know about this guy, because I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to tell you about passions without, like, an esoteric discipline.
Oh, yeah.
Though you, obviously, you can pick up when I add extra dice. But this guy definitely has beauty advantage 1. Like I said, handsome, boyish face.
Yeah, no. So, well, Inos will go, well, I will swear upon my honor I am no fencer. My martial prowess lies in other regions and does not comport well to the rules of dueling. So I will accept your duel and name a champion. I will nominate. Let me make sure I get her name right, because I definitely do not want to flummox her goddamn name.
Two Swords Degen.
Yes. Mora Two Swords Degen as my champion.
Two swords. Definitely, like, Brandon Drake freezes a beat when you say that, and then he kind of, like, gets his composure and he says, "So the rumors are true."
And so, like, I will, like, look over the crowd, and it's like, should we do this here and now? Probably best. I won't be here on the morrow, journeying with the Crown Prince to Chateau Dragon, or what is it? Is it Chateau Dragox?
Yeah, Chateau Dragon.
Dragon.
There's a double N in there and an E.
Also,
Also, I spelled chateau with a UX, but that's all pronounced the same way.
I will look for someone who can, in the crowd, who can take a message, because I will not quit the area at the moment.
There is a convenient, King's Courier on the corner.
I will,
a $5.
I'll slip him a $5 and ask him to run to Thorntouch Hall to inform Mora Two Swords Degen and any relevant parties that Inos, Ward of House Logi, has need of her services post haste.
Yes, as you do that, he kind of like nods and says, "Very well. Excuse me, sir." Reaches down, picks up his glove, ties it back on. Then I shall await your champion and their second.
Mm-hmm.
And he, goes to a corner to speak with his second, who is, I think he's Dramatis Personae as well. Enrico Deiris, who is a tenor with the Lampclair Opera Company. He was also at the Masquerade Ball.
Okay.
Inos can probably recognize him by his voice. Less his bearing. And honestly, you probably, I don't actually remember if you've been to the opera at any time during this trip. But,
No.
You may have seen him in previous years. Actually, Inos, while you're waiting real quick, roll me Sense plus Hearing.
I got that. Pair of 6s.
You can overhear in hushed voices. Enrico Deiris is frantically trying to talk Drake out of a fight with, "If half the things they've said about the two swords are true, there's no way you're coming out of this all right." And he's like, "Well, I've made my challenge. I need to lie in it. I can't back out simply because he found a bogeyman for me to fight. But I'm serious, Bran, this is not going to go. And he's like, well, we'll see, won't we? And, Enrico throws up his hands and says,
But while this happens, Inos his corner will be over probably by Nocta Luca's carriage, and he'll mutter like real close, so like no one can hear. It's all like, "Little Knight, well, I will not apologize to anyone else over the way I have acted. I will apologize to you. I did not understand necessarily my such public displays of affection might incur such a result. Going forward, I will think on this."
I think, with, a pleasant smile on your face, Luca kind of like crosses their arms and says, well, as I said, I am not personally offended. And I must admit, I kind of thought you knew what you were doing. It seemed like a very Inos thing to do.
Can I say that I know what I'm doing and I don't know what I'm doing?
She just kind of like, looks and gestures up to the sky and says, God's only. I must admit, as pleasant as I find our outings, this is also mine own first attempt at courtship, so most who would frame themselves as my suitors back home are not nearly as interesting. Leans down in her carriage a little and, does a slightly coy wink at you.
I can only hope that I remain interesting then.
She does kind of like get a little more serious and say, not that I would like to think of myself as competing with the third princess, but in general, not to dissuade you, dear Inos, but that is a quarter where you may in future continue to find such resistance. She is both very eligible and very honored in society.
Oh, that I had no doubt of. It was more the question of being fought over for all of it that threw me off.
Well, indeed, it is unusual. I do not suspect that there has been a young gentleman who has been openly courting so many ladies. Usually, young gentlemen like to keep it secret from each young lady and from other gentlemen, on account of it being possibly slightly rude.
But
when it's open, she kind of like shrugs her shoulders. Knows.
Like I said, it's like Inos, kind of, lifts his chin and his plan. It's all like, I will not be secretive about who I love.
Kind of like, because she's up in the carriage, leans down to like pat an evening gloved hand on your shoulder and says, and this is what makes you quite so interesting. But, as I say, not everyone will think it that way. Also, I do believe that the young gentleman has a point. The matter of love is in your heart and for the subject of poets and priests, but the people around us do not always know,
I am beginning to understand that. As I said, I'll have to give it some thought. I will not stop, but perhaps change it. I'm not entirely sure how, though. First, I need Moira to knock him on his ass, and then we'll see where we go from there. Well, I shouldn't say that. As much as slightly distressing this is, I can't find myself to dislike the man.
I've heard a few things about Drake. He is a serial duelist. He arrived in the city some seasons ago. I set about challenging the students of several fencing academies successfully in the city. But he does not come from wealth per se. Though obviously has skill and manner.
Sorry.
But yeah, basically, meanwhile, back at the ranch, a courier arrives sometime after the dinner hour, to speak to, Moira, gives her the message. I think Moira just, clasps on her sword belt and is like, all right, I'm going out. Inos has been challenged to a duel. Mentally does eeny, meeny, miny, mo. All right, Aurelia, you're my second. Come on. Just like,
That made the most sense to me in my head too.
it's like, oh, she's kind of just like, all right, okay. Puts on her sword belt with her new short sword.
You might see
I don't
something.
remember if I did.
I have to
forgetting.
see this. I have to see how this goes.
Well, that's why I said that she basically just tells it to the house, like, all right, gotta go.
Leslok is just looking at everyone's like to convince him to not to come along.
I don't think anybody's there for it. And yes, I did actually swap Aurelia. She dropped her two Twin Fang techniques for the first two techniques in Steel Kiss.
Cool.
Which means she does have a long-running strike, so she does deal longsword damage with a short sword. Scaly. Assuming she has, room to move. But yeah, okay. So usually you do have a physician at a duel. So if Nicola wasn't already coming, we'll probably just grab him. If Dallas is existing in this time-space plane.
Not sure. Dallas.
Yep.
There you are. You're being
Sorry.
dragged to another duel.
Oh God.
Yeah. The word arrives to Moira, and she's probably like,
All right.
no, we'll need a doctor. You, come along.
Fair enough.
And like I said, if Leslok and Logesh want to come, nobody's going to stop them. Konrad, in the meantime, is eating a nice roast.
Conrad's gonna return home and no one's gonna be there.
Okay. It's like, oh, this is,
what the hell?
This is just going to be just like what happened to Inos the other day.
Yeah. Wait, I guess I noticed felt that one night.
Where did everyone go? Bingo?
Bingo night?
No. I think,
it's like,
yeah,
I'm
Logesh
going,
would
you're coming
go
along.
to show his support.
Oh, if I was going, you're coming along anyway.
So Moira, Enos isn't actually dueling, right?
No, he's invoked his right as champion, which he has, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen him hold a sword, let alone hold it the right way.
He held it
And
once.
as
for 3 schools.
your fencing master in your employ, I am technically your highest rated swordsman present, anyway.
Yeah.
Lad should probably consider hiring some more permanent bodyguards, but don't think they'll be better than me. Does rubs the bridge of her nose, with the thumb gesture. So yeah, the Inos, you're waiting probably, maybe 10 extra minutes, and the crew rolls up. And Moira's there, in kit. She just kind of shows up and says, "All right, who are we fighting?" The crowd just kind of looks at Brandon Drakes, and he steps up, and she's just like, "No, him, all right." She's gonna whip off her coat and hand it to Aurelia. Sorry, that's me second. Aurelia Logi, you may have heard of her. Aurelia just holds coat and is just like, "Hello." So yeah, basically the street, the number of paces is kind of blocked off. Once again, Nicola, you're to produce a handkerchief and drop it. And because this is 2 NPCs, I'm not going to actually roll this out.
Okay.
But instead, the way this plays out is, everybody squares up. Nicola has the handkerchief ready to signal. the square boundaries are definitely required to be respected because, like I said, everything like there was already a little bit of a crowd because, like I said, Inos, you've started to like garner a little bit of a reputation around town. Not, by the way, as a serial dater, but as a master craftsman.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the thing that Drake kind of like capitalized on was just like a revelation he came to, himself. He was just like, wait a minute. That isn't exactly proper to, fully courtshipify multiple ladies at once. I don't know if this gentleman has permission from his young ladies to do that. But once you, out loud mentioned Moira Degen, the famed Two Swords Moira, or Moira Two Swords is technically how I have it written. You've started to grow an extra crowd. There's probably, a dozen extra fencers in the crowd, like, getting everybody to back up. So like I said, Moira unstraps her hand and a half blade and her coat and like has Aurelia hold on to those. She's just doing it with the two short swords. They both, draw, salute. Nicola drops the handkerchief. I should say Moira starts. No, she starts with her right hand sword drawn. So what she does is with her left hand sword draw, the moment the handkerchief hits the ground, while they're still, paces away, lightning fast, she whips her hand out and throws her first sword directly at Drake's face. He just barely, dodges out of the way and slaps the blade aside. Everyone can clearly see that he does indeed have a very slight cut on his cheek from that, which did draw first blood, which would be the rules agreed upon. But Moira follows it up with she flips her right hand sword around to the blunt end, to the back end, and while his guard is up the other way, Moira just grabs his sword hand in her free hand and just solar plexus blow. And just brings her like forearm down on his shoulder, and just he goes to one knee and just kind of like, but he's about to get ready to do a regular riposte when presumably Nicola will call it because he has begun bleedifying. His cheek was cut.
Dallas
is once again not listening. That's okay.
It's
kind of a function, but yeah. So like, he kind of like, rubs his cheek where he feels it, sees the blood, and just kind of like, where it kind of like takes a step back to decent sword range, and says, "You're pretty fast. Most people don't know how to block the draw, but you should watch out for yourself, mate. Even if it's for honor, you never know what will happen in a sword fight. Speaking of which, does anyone have my sword?" Somebody from the crowd just kind of like, oh, it's kind of like, thank you. Now, sir, hopefully my man Inos has proven that, at the very least, fortune's on his side, and you should think about such things before you go challenging anybody again. Probably like quietly, just enough that like, Inos and maybe a couple of the other party members who are part of this can hear. She, leans down to give him a hand up and says, "And you probably should have thought twice before squaring up against Moira Two Swords." He just kind of like coughs a little and says, "No, you're quite right." And he kind of like, stiffly, kind of, favoring his, sheathes his rapier, favors his chest with his other hand, kind of like goes up to Inos and, bows at the waist and says, "Sorry, sir, it would appear that tonight, anyway, I am in the..."
Inos will actually bow to him his turn and says, "Well, I do not need apologize for my actions. Instead, I will thank you for letting me understand something that maybe I did not understand before. As far as I am concerned, you are a gentleman and of the most noble soul.
A gentleman and a scholar.
It kind of, attempts to, straighten up a little, tug his coats, and then, oh, you're welcome. I must admit, I'm not entirely sure which part it was, but that may just be the blow to the chest.
Yes.
Indeed. Looks over at Moore and says, "For fencing master, you have a punch like you have a slug like an ox." She just kind of polishes her bicep because, like I said, she took off her overcoat to do it, because usually you drop to like shirt sleeves for this. So she just kind of does the classic bicep show and says, "Started as a blacksmith's apprentice, mate." He's just like, let me explain it. Hey, well, does anyone happen to have a bandage or a handkerchief for my face? And as he turns to the crowd, you can see several young ladies and gentlemen of various status who offer him a handkerchief, and he will again kind of bow less formally but more honestly to Inos, and kind of go to the crowd and kind of take his stage exit.
Inos will turn to Moore and it's like, thank you, Master Djinn, for aiding me in this time of conflict.
Should I help? Should I help him?
He'll be fine. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, he'll probably get a few coin telling the story of how he faced Moratujin and, well, made a decent showing of it, I suppose. But Mora, I do believe I probably owe you some sort of recompense from coming to my aid. What would you like? Gold, enchant one of your weapons, enchant your tools, pretty jewelry.
Don't even have that stuff. I do suppose I know that you're know a few things about handling weapons. She kind of holds up the actually no, yeah, it would be the left hand sword that she got back. But I do know old Lefty did do you a solid tonight. Did you a favor? If you wouldn't mind looking it over sometime. Because I do believe you have the... what's the weapon adoration, I think
Yes.
is the... Yeah.
I have weapon adoration.
She probably knows about that. If you want to do anything else on top of that, that's your business. But yeah.
Yeah.
She probably cleans the slight amount of blood off of it.
Yes.
This is what I'm paid for, among other things.
Yes. I will make sure to give Lefty my gratitude at some future occasion then.
And definitely, she turns to, Aurelia and shrugs back into her coat, buckles her, like I said, her hand and a half sword back on. She, kind of pats Aurelia on the shoulder and says, "Well, young mistress, you've seconded your first duel. Good for you. You did everything perfect." And Aurelia's like, "I didn't do anything." Correct?
Exactly.
Normally, the important part of being a second is standing there, talking to people, and making sure the other guy doesn't try and shank me in the back.
Inos will probably go have another quick few quiet words with Noctiluca and wish her good night and all that stuff.
Noctiluca does wish you good night as well. Probably bids a gentle adieu to the rest of the Logi party who showed up. Make sure to have a little bit of a some sort of salute to Moira. All right.
But yes.
And then you can all return us to the houses. Well, like I said, Konrad's probably come back from his dinner and wondered wherever the hell everybody went. Probably hears from one of the footmen.
Inos is particularly quiet and pensive during the walk back.
Konrad's just pouting at the table.
Get back, Inos sees Konrad. Oh, did something go wrong at the dinner, Konrad? You look like someone stole your sweet roll.
You're having duels without me.
Well, I'm sorry. If I'd known that I'd been accosted by a gentleman when I went out this, I would have been sure to let you know beforehand, cuz.
There is definitely like definitely an amount of good humor in the way Konrad's acting. He's not taking it too serious.
I think Mora, kind of like straightens, the collar of her jacket and says, your lordship, it wasn't that too much trouble. Probably wouldn't have been any fun.
I guess, if you say so.
He wasn't expecting the old cross draw. Really, it probably raises a point if that's a normal technique to throw your sword at someone, and Moira is like, oh no, it's not normal at all. It's usually only either as a desperate last resort or in tonight's case, an incredibly showy amount of hubris. But it worked. It's because I had a second sword.
It was a very showy opener, but I think that is the point of it all.
Well, most people aren't ready for swords to fly at them. It's kind of the same principle as that thing that happened with, she points to Konrad and the brick. You don't really expect bricks to fly. Most people don't expect swords to fly neither. And I tell you, you try and avoid instinctively slapping away a sword flying at your face.
Konrad rolls his shoulder.
Which is unfortunately what he did, which gave me an opening. That's why I used the left side.
And I wonder
if
where has a decent
flexes
throwing
both
pool.
hands and says, it's one of the advantages of being either-ended. You do a lot with a little. If it had been a serious matter, I probably would have fought him more seriously. But he seemed just to be another. Well, I won't quite call him a peacock. He was too darkly dressed for that. But just another young lad about the town, poking people with swords, poking people with other things. Pay it no mind. And gonna be honest, she looks over her shoulder at Inos. My Master Inos didn't seem too insulted by the challenge, I say.
No.
What was it about?
Inos kind of hems and haws. It's like, apparently, in polite society, it is unbecoming of a gentleman to openly court multiple women.
Obviously, he's
Usually I
never
do
seen high
think you do one
society
at a
in
time.
Orderlands.
It's like, I didn't necessarily think it was an issue as long as I was, open and honest and forthright with it, but apparently that's not enough.
Probably
It
the
might
gift.
just be a
Probably
matter
the
of-
gift that did it.
Well,
Might be a matter of cultural differences, really.
like I said, the good gentleman Drake was, well, he was dueling more for the sake of, well, as Mora put it, being a peacock. He did bring up a good point, and like I said, honestly, I couldn't necessarily, I wasn't going to say I was wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. But there is something to be said about how things look in the eyes of others. I definitely have to give it some thought going forward. I don't plan to stop, not by any means. It's like, I love who I love, and I will not let such things as how it looks to the eyes of others dissuade me such things. But I'll have to go about it more smartly. What
Well,
smartly?
at the very least, having won the challenge and accepted it, while admittedly very good at dueling, never really put a lot of stock that it actually said anything other than being better at hitting people with swords. But also, in the opinion of polite society, it does mean that you are the one who is more honorable, I guess, in these matters. So
or
Well,
practical in the application.
Such an incident quite like that shouldn't happen again unless you give some other reason that people might find to be insulted.
Oh, so the fact if I give another one of the other ladies that I am wooing an extravagant magnificent gift unlike the world has seen.
Well, yeah, that in general is probably going to cause some problems, but I'm
That's
sure
more-
you know already knew that one.
I'm more, to be direct, I'm more impressed if you actually top yourself again very soon, so quickly.
Well, it won't be so quickly. Well, actually, I guess it kind of will be. Have I talked to you what I plan on doing on the Sea Wolf? You know I awakened it, correct?
You what?
No, yes, you did. You did mention that about 4 days ago, 5 days ago. No, 5. It was 5 days, 2 hours. Okay.
Yes. The next step of that process is to actually awaken the Sea Wolf into a full-on Eidolon. Give it a rudimentary intelligence so it can follow commands and do actions on its own. Imagine a ship that doesn't necessarily have to be powered by sails or moved by oars. You can just tell it, hey, go forward, and it goes forth. Never have to worry.
I'm just picturing. God damn it! Sorry.
No, go. I can keep going after you have your reaction.
I'm just picturing Logesh after only recently starting to read up about like magic and all how this works. Hearing Inos say this, he's gonna put his head in his hands like, "What the fuck?"
I mean, it's only grounded in the side things he's already done.
Wait,
Like a real wolf.
Yes.
On the sea.
Yes.
We have fun here, chat.
But I guess just one thing to say is like, have you ever stopped when one person told you to stop? Otherwise, if one person tried to take the wind out of your sails for one thing, you wouldn't be Inos.
Well, if someone tells me to stop and they have a damn good reason for me to stop, then I'll stop. The problem is convincing me that they have a damn good reason.
As long as we can point out the cliff that he's about to walk over, he'll stop.
Yes. But like I said, I see no... As long as I am open, honest, and forthright with my love and my intentions, and that is a matter between me and the ones that I am courting. In my honest opinion, society should not have a say in what goes on, but apparently they do. And that is something I will have to work around. If not for me, but for the ones that I care for.
Well said.
I mean, really, in the end, it's... As long as the ladies don't want to stab you for what you're doing, that's fine.
Surprisingly, Noctiluca is not going to stab me for it. I should probably speak to Lucy at length, though. I think she might have more to say on the subject.
I want to do that before you make the ship animated. She might sick the ship on you.
No, I will awaken her ship, and if she sicks it on me, well, that is the way of it. And so, like, one must accept responsibility when it comes.
Yep.
It's like, I don't think Eidolon won't be...
Well, if you want the lowdown on what the Eidolon does, it'll basically give it a rudimentary animal intelligence. It's basically elevating the soul from a nebulous concept to a more concrete one. It won't have true intelligence like a human, but closer to an animal. You'll be able to speak to it, it'll be able to let its feelings be known, you'll be able to train it to do a certain number of things. It will, like I said, it'll be able to move under its own power, and even be able to heal itself, which I think will be right useful for a boat.
Okay.
Very helpful. Also, I was not thinking it'd be less of a romantic gesture and more just, you're doing a practical thing. If anything, you were just granting her an even greater ship.
Well, yes. It's like the Sea Wolf is probably one of her most important and prized possessions. I want to give her something that and Lucy is a practical girl. She doesn't have much use for jewelry and fancy things. She'd prefer things more functional. And giving her a boat that can watch over her when I cannot seems the best idea.
Fun fact, Lucy, in fact, does have the possession advantage.
If it can move on its own, would it be able to move across land then?
Oh, no. Technically, yes. But
I don't think we want to see that. It might break itself in the process.
it would not be able to do it well. Like, it would not be able to fly on the sky. It'd be more like a... Do we have seals? In time?
I think in the north. I think like it's an ache thing, but
Yeah, you should have seals up north.
It would be more like a seal, and it would be very ungainly. Honestly, the sea wolf probably wouldn't naturally go on land unless the captain told it to, because it's not part of its natural environment, so it wouldn't think of going on land. But on a technicality of technicalities, yes.
One of the things is I do not believe the spell Eidolon Machina like changes the like physical structure of the vehicle or other complex thing. You like it doesn't like the boat's not going to sprout like legs or fins.
Konrad decided it could move on its own, so he's like, wait a minute.
No, like technically it just says it gains a movement speed. So I guess yes, it can go on land technically, but that's probably bad for it and probably doesn't actually want to do that.
Unless you give it like flipper like legs.
No.
It's like,
what are we doing? Why am I up here?
Because it can move at its own rate without additional power, but that it would be like any other boat trying to move on land. Even if you had a couple of rowers and tried to move a rowboat on land, you can do it, but it's gonna suck.
Yeah. It's like the fucking keel would just be digging into the ground, constantly dragging, probably doing damage and stuff. No.
It'd be using like
you could restructure the boat to do something funny, but you guys are still probably about 100 years too early for an ironclad.
Yeah. So no, it's just It's hilarious. No. It'll just be good on water. It'll be best on the water. And honestly, I don't see any reason why we need to take it on land.
I just checked it, actually. It's an interesting thing. The first actual metal ship was actually in 1777.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the concept of a metal hull would be around, but you're not quite, like I said, like at the
it's not. A steamer iron steamer was only by 1822, so like it's a few decades ahead now. For like
you guys don't have the steam engine. Anyway, I'm pausing the audio. I need to go to the bathroom.
All right, I'm gonna go get some water then. Hydrate.
Okay, everybody hydrate.
I
kind of wanted to pause for a second, but we kept having cheeky banter. I'll be right back.
Almond sausage, right?
Yay!
Yay?
I'm playing Girls Frontline 2 off to the side. And I got the one.
Get through some of the early levels, unlock stuff.
They fixed a bug which stopped me from progressing the story, only to encounter another bug which doesn't let me progress the story.
Yeah, bugs water.
Because you stopped using your big tower. Because... Yeah, geez.
Oh, I thought Lucky was talking at me.
No, what do you mean, Loth? You stopped using your big tower.
Good thing I don't have to go anywhere.
I retreat to my room.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Lucky coming back.
Good night. Oof. Right back. Oof.
He's back.
Oh,
I am
cool
back.
track.
Sorry, shivering a little. It's cold outside. Okay. All right.
Baby, it's cold outside.
We are going to attempt to keep
Ain't got nobody to love.
speeding on.
Keep going. Sorry it took so long, but I felt like Inos had actual things to wonder about, like, am I doing something wrong?
Oh, you're fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Character moments. They're good. No, it's fine. Okay. All right.
Ooh,
So,
excuse me.
to recap all the stuff and set about your business. So, the people coming with you, and everybody else will be scooting and going, are obviously the 5-player characters. Aurelia, Alestra Gridarvol, Moira, obviously, and Kieran are going.
Yeah.
And you have a peasant wagon to carry some of your baggage and some of your attendants. At the very least, Inos is bringing
Emily.
his maid. Yes. Yeah. Anybody else going to bring any personal attendants?
I think I'm fine. I just need to.
Back.
I think I'll be fine.
Right.
I think Konrad will be fine also.
Okay.
I'm good.
Well, yeah, you're probably. Guess what, buddy? The Marquess isn't bringing any attendants. That's now you.
Yeah.
And
It
Konrad
me.
is just going to have to be ballsy and salt of the earth enough to, dress and clean himself as a gentleman.
Ask the dog and crow to help him with it, and that'll do it.
Yep. Alrighty.
Dog
And
butler.
to finalize, are we taking your 10 lamplighters with?
I think we should.
Okay.
Then let's do.
They will be riding mostly with your baggage train, but probably a couple of them can be up with the coachman and the footman and ride along. Probably because they're going to be marching, not like a hard march, but they will be marching alongside you. Probably rotate that out.
Yep.
Alrighty. In that case, all of your other NPCs in your cadre are going to load back up in your galleon. They're going to take your money, your treasure, etc., and start their process of speeding their way on back to Teine. And depending on how long your round trip takes, you may be able to catch up with them on the Seawolf. The Seawolf is going to load up with your other items and make its way. Probably slowly, not gonna go full tack, but make its way slowly up the coast to the port of Four Leaves, which is technically under the jurisdiction of House Ferretti. It's the seat of power for House Quatrefoil, House of the Clovers.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right, itching my chin. And I believe that is going to be all or four-ish of you, basically everybody but Leslok, who's going to ride horse.
So I'll be riding horse.
Haunts.
Konrad's also getting riding horse. I don't know if that's for once the actual tour starts or along this period also. So either way,
That's fine. I'm just checking.
yeah.
Well, I'll save my horse check-in for the next time, just in case. Because it is like I said, you probably would not go bust out necessarily the full horse and traveling because it is, as I said, only a couple of hours by carriage to the Castle of the Dragon. So a very brief ride. You guys have been invited. So after breakfast and all the initial setting out, you all pack in your carriage and ride out. Not sure, if there's any like pressing conversations, or you guys just kind of like idly mind your time or not?
Before we head out, Inos would probably, have a quiet word with Lucy and, ask that, after Elder's Grantor, he'd like to, have a serious conversation with her. But,
Yes.
send her off with his affections and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, Inos would probably be writing. No, he's not. He's cordial and friendly with the prince, but like I said, they have a much more professional relationship than a friendly one, so he would not.
Well, and the prince will be writing with you directly. You probably have ridden on ahead already and receive you as as the host.
Okay, then. Yeah, no, Inos is just gonna probably ride quietly, not say much. Unless someone says something to him. Then he'll probably be a chatterbox, but he's keeping to himself a little bit.
I'm not in the carriage. I can't contribute.
Yeah, I'm also not in the carriage, so
I'm just thinking about other things.
It seems like a quiet ride of you guys testing out your stratagem.
Now and then, Konrad's gonna inspire the Lamplighters into song with some good marching songs.
Oh, you probably got a few. Good for keeping cadence.
We don't have to make a whole scene about it, actually. What come to mind is like,
I don't know, but I've been told Northern beer is kind of old.
I don't know why I just pictured us on the horses, but the horses are marching in cadence.
I don't think they're that well trained.
Tiny bubbles in my beer makes me happy.
actually, it's considering I don't know how to word it out, but Leslok is going to ask Inos of how he should try to get considering that you've helped him last time with like getting further in his like social life.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get your advice of like, okay, how do I need to get a sense of measure of how Darissa is like with everyone else in the family. I'm just trying to think about things we could do along the way that wouldn't be too intrusive.
So I'm guessing like you're in like the carriage and I'm like walking beside you as we have this conversation, or riding beside you as we have this conversation.
If you wish.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to get a visual on it.
Also, you could have just waited till you're at the chateau and have this conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. I could wait. I can wait.
I didn't mind either way, but just
no. If the arrangement feels like that's too like awkward or public,
yeah. Like I said, if you do have it that way, it is going to be open in public.
Yeah, so it's like I'll wait for it later then.
Okie doke.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, it's only a couple hours of ride. A relatively short trip. So obviously, Lampclair is located in kind of like a small, cove or inlet that cuts into the. Sorry, I'm scratching my news again. Cuts into the coast, so has a lovely bay that it can go down with a little bit of slope to it. You guys are start in a little bit of highlands and gently slope down into a broad valley of coastal plain, spanning a decent chunk of the territory between the two rivers that border Crown. The chateau itself does not have much of a castle town, but it does have very sprawling grounds. There are multiple loosely defined sections of walls and fences and other boundaries. The outermost areas include public lands for farming, orchards for fruits, which are, probably in big prime growing season. We're getting very big blooms, which will turn into hopefully big fruits later in a couple of seasons.
Big fruit.
And several, artisanal gardens, though there are some more wilder looking sections of land, more game preserves, like where you guys have observed the hunting contest before. There are several ponds, channels, and artificial reservoirs to provide clean water, fishing, other water features. You do check in very regularly to see, handfuls of small watch forts and towers that have an elevated view for miles, manned by small handfuls of yeomen, constables, and king's rangers. So the actual chateau, the castle itself, was once just a star fort. The classic overlapping star formation. Allegedly, it was built on a hill which featured a small lodge or hall used by High King Wyn before his coronation. It eventually turned into a manor hall for his family and has been built up into a sprawling palace for state guests, events, and a secure place the royal family can stay at all times. Obviously, you guys have spent several years traveling to and from the Palace of the Dawn in Lampclair. That is still huge, but has a much more compact grounds and seems much more attuned to certain professional capacities for the royal family rather than a permanent residence. The outer area, you have paved brick roads you're riding over. There are multiple layers of water moats, which also are irrigation. There are modern oil lamps lining these streets. The inner walls are of gleaming white stone covered with alchemical cement. And they are quite steeply sloped, though not necessarily as tall as some Norlon castles you've seen. They do have a small collection of cannons on display, but it's very obvious that these walls were designed to be spaced to hold ballistae and certain other siege engines. Outside the actual keep walls, there are a wide variety of sturdy outbuildings, fenced in adjoining the road. They mostly resemble townhomes or barracks. They're built from very, sturdy brick. They've got shingled roofs. They all look like they've been remodeled in the last 50 years or so. And basically, some of them are actually barracks for blood shields, king's constables, king's rangers, king's couriers, various other
Kings.
There's a wide variety of royal offices which require people to be bunked. There are also spaces for other equestrian and men at arms. There are house guard for the palace that are not necessarily the blood shields, but are various other knights and men at arms. They have robust carriage house and stables. You probably store your carriage and horses here. That you can go in and do the full loop-de-loop into the castle courtyard. There are also various facilities here for visiting knights, soldiers, and dignitaries, and even the palace staff. There's a small army of laundresses and seamstresses, valets and tailors for hire, if you needed to acquire new clothes or make sure your clothing is repaired and up to snuff. There's a robust smithy here to provide arms and armor and even tools to the castle and the servants. You see a very large, healthy smithy with multiple furnaces going, and see, probably half a dozen apprentices, hammering out, new round of horseshoes or patching dents and polishing armor after a joust or something. There is a separate external bathhouse here, and there are also offices for clerks and notaries, something that you guys probably don't see a whole lot of, but there is actually bureaucracy here.
The bureaucracy.
Notaries to write letters, stamps and other official businesses, and just in general, there is a small army of porters, runners, and day laborers for hire here, along with wilderness guides. Just like, anything any visiting person to the castle, which is, ostensibly the seat of power, could go. When the palace gates are open, the outermost gates, there is a large market square which can be pitched, and indeed, since it's just after the Festival of the Rising Dragon, there are still a decent number of traveling merchants, performers, and other people, up here in the market square under the watchful eyes of the blood shields. So, not a very large castle town, but a decent, extra detachment they have going. You guys, though, like I said, can get to ride all the way up to the inner palace inside the walls. Big double portcullis murder doors, and like I said, these are sloped walls. If anyone cares to guess, the walls were probably originally sloped to be proofed against dragon attack.
Cool.
But yeah, the building itself is wonderfully presented. It's been undergone many renovations over the years. Don't worry, we'll get you guys settled in, and leave you with some things to think about for next time. But the current version of the palace is mostly focused around residency and state affairs, but there's still an eye at security. You notice that all the outermost doors are like, iron frame, solid wood block, big iron bars to hold them shut when they need to, kind of thing. There's, a central courtyard, and there are big wings which can be integrated into the surrounding walls. There's a large interior courtyard. You see, statues and fountains here, big parade ground. The main hall itself has big blocky steps of polished white stones, like actual white stones, but also have reinforced accents of dragon bone. So probably like the railings are like big carved joined chunks of dragon ivory. You guys are, all led up into the entrance hall, which is huge, black marble floors, gold gilding to set the corner tiles, huge tapestries and expensive portraits. The Crown Prince is here to receive you, as the guest for the tour, and says, so good of you to make it. Since this is your first time here, I shall personally take you along to the guest wing, which is just over here. Starts pointing out and shuffles you down to cozy, padded, long hallways, because the guest wing is about half the space of the palace. Paintings, art objects, and house guard are here. Plush carpets. As the Crown Prince is leading you, he says, as the Marquess of House Logi, Lord Leslok, you are entitled, of course, to use our specific Stone Tree suite.
Stone Tree?
The apartments are a little rustic, but they should be to northern sensibilities. As you're walking down, the prince kind of like silently counts off doors and says, this one. Open the door into a big suite of rooms. Yes, the furnishings were donated about, I want to say 200 years ago, by the High Queen Piercy. Very, very reasonable for the time. So, yes, this is a large, suite of rooms, a suite of apartments with several bedrooms. It's got a, large, loose brick fireplace with, probably a big mantle. Cool, selection of stones for the floors, but covered up with plush fur rugs. There are tables and chairs here made from hardened and petrified wood. In the common room, there are several big shelves and writing desks with, various things on them. The beds are probably fairly well appointed. Nice, big, solid log frame with, bed furs and probably big woolen quilts. As you guys are kind of all filing in, the Crown Prince, as an aside, says, and while of course you are welcome to make use of this room, Master Inos, you may also find it slightly more to your liking, the old Ironhold room. It's even older than the Stone Tree suite, but was last utilized, I want to say, some 500 or 600 years ago, but was furnished, at least at what the time was the fashion of the Iron Kindred. We're thinking about converting it to the offices or apartments of a future. He kind of pauses on the word, and you feel like he's switching his word choice a little. Advisor. If you would like to see it.
Enos would like to see it. He's most curious.
Right. So, It's technically it is set like down a level into the basement, but it has along an outer wall has so high windows so light can filter in.
Neat.
It's got a big, solid slab stone hearth, which you're pretty sure could function as a forge furnace if you needed to work
Rad.
fire. The stone walls feature several imported iron kindred carvings. A lot of the furnishing is stone, like practical stone tables, a couple of like workbenches. But the bed is a surprisingly, considering its age, comfortable silver and gold gilded frame.
Wow.
And the mattress and pillows are made of soft wool stuffed with mountain cotton.
I'm curious
So,
why
like,
this is here.
Not exactly like. If you bring that up, he says, "Well, it is rare for your kind to come visit, but there have been several past High Kings who have attempted, I won't say exactly the same, but similar reforms to encourage them. And I believe that in the past, visitors have maybe commented that some of our suites were not comfortable to various kindred. The guest room suitable for the Harpuya, for instance, is actually up in the attic and features several large skylight shutters. The maid staff has a terrible time with the shutters because it gets drafty in the winter, but, just gestures vaguely up at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I must say, if your people would rather the furnishings returned, I'm sure that can be arranged despite their weight." Crown Prince looks at a solid stone workbench.
Like, no. That's quite all right. Like I said, none of these things looks to be masterworks, so no, everything's quite all right. But yes,
So yeah, you guys
I would totally
have
take
some
this
time
one.
to settle in.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna speedball some stuff as I add some names to the Dramatis real quick. So technically, the Crown Prince is kind of your host, but more formally the
Our Lord.
Hello, Dallas.
one hosting you at the house is it's actually this one. It's Fiona Antonym. She is the head of House Antietam. Which means you've met her daughter Malus before in social context. She is the Castellan, steward of the castle. I must have spelled that wrong.
All right.
I did spell commander wrong. And as you can see from my notation, also commander of the Tarnasol Knights, a chivalric order who are guardians of the surrounding Tarnasol plains, in charge of the various postings. So, make sure to formally introduce herself to you and make sure you all have your very comfortable hospitality and so on and so forth. Actually, no, I copied that wrong. That one. Added to the notes.
Yeah.
I will not be adding character blocks for a couple of these people, but you are briefly introduced to obviously Nerissa has come. She has her two maidservants with her. No surname. I've just given their names, Melisent and Arabella.
Cool.
Imagine if I need a Greek chorus. This is probably your first time to be introduced to Dame Rosenroth Logi, who is, as I said before, your second cousin, who is, Nerissa's newly appointed Cavalier. Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Yes, she's down here. She is, as described previously, kind of, tall, lean woman, sharp features, kind of got, flame-colored hair, steely eyes, has a dueling scar, and is often dressed in the, the kind of the bold, sanguine reds of the blood shields. If there's any kind of acknowledgement of Moira's presence, Dame Rosenrot is much too polite and formal and regimented to observe it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Did I also put this person down as a entry already? Yes. I'll just add this whole block of people, actually, honestly, under Citizens of Crown, because all of these characters are going to be introduced before too long. So, obviously, the Crown Prince is traveling with himself, Agave Cheval, as I mentioned before. You were also introduced to another person who's attending the train. He is Peregrinus Driscoll, Courier Lieutenant. He says, please, call me simply Perry, sirs.
Driscoll sounds familiar.
My parents were very formal.
Of course.
You can tell from his accent and kind of his coloration, he's got, kind of like bronze skin, dark curly hair. You would guess he's from Celticy originally. You're introduced to the Prince's valet, Tobin Sadler, valet to the Crown Prince. Of course, sir. His Majesty's valet. This is the voice I am using. Do you need anything, sir? But you were also introduced to, briefly, Lady Rosenrot's squire, Marvena Lind. You would guess, not based on her name, but by her color. She's got kind of like pale, slightly rosy skin, kind of platinum blonde hair, and like slightly pinkish or crimson eyes. You would assume she is from Throne by birth, but those of you can make me a lore roll real quick. As we've discussed, heraldifying. If you have any actual history or other such student skills, that also works.
I have politics.
I assume student of engineering does not help.
No.
6s.
4s on Loth as well.
No,
Yeah.
6s.
Oh, you also got 6s. Okay.
Also 6s. 3 6s.
Wow, lots of
I'm a
6s.
demon now.
Nicola pulls his devil trigger. He is now the final boss, etc., etc. But no. So those of you who pass, again, you would guess, that again she's from young Squire Marvena is from Tronstock, but the name Lind is interesting. You can remember from obscure reading. It's a byname given to honor the children of those who fall in royal service, usually fallen members of the Blood Shields.
Oh.
So you can assume that she is a squire and has the name because one or both of her parents were Blood Shields who died in service. You'll have more opportunity to meet those people later.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got some more. Did I actually? Sorry, this is like President Omega is figuring out how much prep work Past Omega did, which is a decent amount. Good job, Past Omega. You weren't
fair.
sick.
I'm losing steam, so like.
No, we're wrapping up. Like I said, I'm calling out people that I'm adding to the Dramatis Personae to think about.
Yeah.
To briefly recap, because we'll talk about. I was probably going to have you guys go ahead and think about it more, but we'll probably recap at the start of session about your
Arrangements,
like choices of dress and stuff, and how you want to like go about your business and beeswax.
Mm-hmm.
and describing, of course, how your friends and fellow travelers will be appointed, because yes, I did lots of work on that. But it was asked earlier how much honor guard the prince is going to be rattling around with.
Mm-hmm.
Rattle.
He is going to be going for mostly a minimal escort. That's the word I'm looking for. About half the company is staying in Lampclair anyway, because that's technically their seat. He is, the Prince of Lampclair. Others are going to be riding on ahead to make sure, roads are safe and try and secure, travel arrangements. So he's going to be escorted only by a small squad of 10 or so, led by Gernot Lancet, who is another scion of House Lancet, and so is Agave's uncle.
So me bringing 10 along is not a bad thing at all.
No, it actually it perfectly worked out with symmetry.
I will probably inform the men that I have a guard and not to think anything is weird about it.
It doesn't have rides, so yeah, it's gonna have to be with you somewhere else.
I thought you said it doesn't have
right along
rides.
the carriage.
Well, it doesn't have those either.
So, I had an idea, Omega, if you're fine with it.
What's your thought process here?
I was thinking, because I wanted to make it out of Quicksilver. So my thought was I could wear it as quote-unquote armor until combat happens.
No, because it doesn't strictly have shape-shifting abilities. You can have it
Fair
look
enough.
Quicksilvery and kind of that can be how it has a range of motion, but it does not have the magical power to transform itself. Also, that would mean that you would be wearing, an entire small man's worth of Quicksilver on your body.
No, that's fair.
Wait. No, never mind.
Yeah, Nicola summoned Elemental, once again, to remind that happened.
Is that permanent?
2 years.
2 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's width in years.
Could you summon more of them, or is it more limited at time?
He can summon more. He can't multiple action to make more multiples at the same time. It's an 8-hour process. So
Fair. So, but I mean, hey, if you do well at it, it's prime. It's prime help, I guess.
But yeah, let's see. Where we?
Omega, no, we'll talk about this off mic.
Okay.
But I don't wanna hold us up.
Yeah.
But also, this is, like I said, where you might find out that Cephas is also joining you for the whole tour.
Sweet.
And let's see. Do I want to just?
Good to have him along.
Yeah, I figure I'll leave you guys with your intended itinerary. The Prince is probably discussing with his own staff, and Nerissa is joining you, so she's got to coordinate and so on and so forth. But the rough plan is you're going to, after probably remaining the rest of this day at the chateau, you're going to go to Weirwind Keep, where it is you've expressed your desire to stay a while. That's a fairly short ride, even further north. If you were in Lampclair, it's about a full day's ride.
Okay.
Stay at least one full day, maybe 2, because you guys have expressed an interest in browsing its archives and libraries and getting to know the history.
I may have to
then you will
kidnap
take
some clerks.
Then you will take a brief stop in a moderately sized, relatively small town of Drakesmith. It is off a Hale and River town off a tributary of the Heronsurge River. That's the eastern river, the one that borders Cheval. That will be you'll be staying probably less than a full day there, and it's only a few hours trip from Weirwind Keep. But that's basically just going to be to rest and restock before setting up north for what will be a decent day's amount of travel to Pont-de-Lens. Technically, you're going to the Crown side first, which is called Kingsbridge, but the city of Pont-de-Lens is literally just across the river that is the border and is much larger. That is the seat of House Lancet, so you will be at the hospitality of Lady Lancet, who is Agave's aunt. it's probably brought up that depending on how fast you guys are moving and how fast they move, the party of House Cheval returning to the Ritter Hall may be there as well. After that, you're going to swing north into Castle Wolfetrud, the seat of House Whitestone. It's in the foothills of the Medius Mountain. You're probably not planning on going mountaineering, but the keep and the regards are supposed to be quite picturesque, and it's kind of a northernmost central point in Crown, being several days' travel from Lampclair at the bottom. And then the plan is to have you guys swing all the way to the other western side and to go to the township and manor of Highbower in the Whitewood. That's closer to the Trefoil River, which is the western river border. Sorts of, lumber, hunting, other industries. The prince does say they don't plan to stay very long because that is the domain that has been granted to his mother as the High Queen. She is away, so it would be a little rude to stay too long. But it puts you close to the river so that basically you can catch a boat downstream to Four Leaves, a large port city under House Quatrefoil. So basically from there it should be pretty easy for you guys to catch your prearranged passage with the Seawolf back to Norlon and, go about your rotation.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice.
And so
Sounds
we will
good.
probably begin that trip after, again, some, you'll have your day to finish prepping and planning and outfits and stuff here. Maybe have some more detailed interaction with some of those NPCs. And that's where we'll go. As now we are officially inside of the part of my notes that I say is Act 2, Smoldering Embers.
Ooh.
Oh, what? Oh, okay.
Yay.
What a name!
Russian.
Yes, to remind everybody, previously we were in Act 1, Fire Within, Iron Without. Now Act 2.
Wait, I'll make sure that this doesn't take us. This takes like half the time.
Well, the acts are loosely defined, so
Yeah.
No, double the time.
I've now just
no.
decided that this is Act 2. All right, anyway, that's going to be the end of the session, I think. Please. Well, luckily, all of you made it to the session.
Yay.
And I think all of you were mostly in character.
I
Most
didn't
got
do
the
much.
Twofold.
I tried.
Yeah, like I said,
I did a lot in the first 30 minutes, and then I was just
yes.
done.
And to be fair, while I do think there were some cases, some of those character interactions that, like I said, people had to ponder things a little more. This was generally a wind down session, and the idea was to make absolutely sure you were wrapped up with all your stuff and have moved onto the tour, which you did.
Yes.
And now it's probably gonna be a lot of montage or
Yes, more
bits.
montages, vignettes, and character moments.
Gonna need a montage.
Sorry, I tried to shake my hand to loosen it up, and actually, that hurt a little. Okay.
Hmm.
All right, it's okay. We're all tired here. We're all relaxing. I'm pretty sure that the usual suspects, Aren, Axe, Lucky, wrote some Dramatis Personae notes in between sessions.
I gotta think about what I want to do for this week because I'm not sure.
I actually have things to say. Right.
Comment on the new people.
And anybody finish any missions by leaving Lampclair or any? Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
My
Okay,
mission.
no,
is-
anybody-
I thought that was
should be-
I thought that was a nope at first, but no, it was you burping.
Oh, you should probably
No,
make a new
but
list.
my mission should be completed soonish.
All right.
What is it?
Hang out with Alias.
My new
Okay.
mission's not until we get back in TN.
I wanna.
I have to
Fair.
come up
Mine-
with a new mission.
Gotta go
Uh,
inspect that castle.
Mine is about to start actually.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Just
We're all
take care of
working. We're
this
thinking
entire
about
one.
things. We need to figure out. We need to double check and make sure Logesh has got something cooking too. But anyway, it sounds like everything. So we'll end the recording here. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.